Greetings one and all, and welcome back to another stream, more specifically our Prequel Trilogy wishlist for the Black Series, or as Dan very aptly put it on his Instagram story moments ago, the superior scale. We are, of course, joking. We are, we are purveyors of all the scales.
We like the tiny tiddlers.
We love a tiny tiddler on this stream. We absolutely do. But yeah, I'm of course joined as always by Daniel East 1000 and RoboQuiff Collects, and we are here tonight to pitch our favourite characters from across episodes 1 to 3 for the Black Series. And this has come at quite a convenient time, given some of the reveals that we got for the Black Series on the Hasbro Pulse live stream a couple of days ago. So we're going to get into all that as well. We're going to talk about the reveals as well as our own picks for the Black Series. But before we do, it wouldn't be a Toy Talk and live chat without diving in to some recent pickups. And I speak for at least myself and Dan when I say we've spent a little bit of cash today, haven't we? And what I love about that is that is quite fitting, considering some of the pickups that you've made today, Dan. So I'll let you take the floor first, mate. Show us what you've got.
I mean, I could show a lot more because I've just gone absolutely nuts on eBay since the last time I've seen you guys. So I've really tried to limit myself with really recent purchases. So let's just blast through just a quick few eBay buys. So I found a Grail, and it's not Star Wars related, I know, but as I mentioned it last time, I am on a bit of an Indiana Jones kick. I was looking for this for the longest time, way back when. It's Indy with the horse, and I finally have it in my collection. It's been an absolute nightmare to get my hands on, but I found one for a relatively decent price. Bit on it. And not only that, another Grail from the Indiana Jones line. The cargo truck, of which I have to say, this thing is awesome. Awesome. It's just what you'd want from a toy. And it's weird saying that because it's just a truck. It's just a truck. No, it's not. It's got all these amazing features, so you can recreate scenes from the film, like the grate being flipped off.
That's so cool, man.
You've got the whip that you can have Indy trail off of.
That's mint.
It's so good. There's a different variant to it as well, I think, with like a canvas roof, but I'm just happy to have one in my collection finally. And I also managed to find some Nazis, some fash for Indy to bash, because we love that.
Yeah, enough about current events though, Dan. Let's...
Well, sure. Sorry, I'm not wearing a suit either. Just apparently that makes you know what you're talking about. Just have a sip of me water. So that was one thing. That's a couple of things I've got off eBay. I got this as well. This is fucking awesome. Excuse my language. It's a dewback. He can talk as well.
Mint.
I don't know where his stick's gone. I'll find it later though. But I got this for a bargain, like a tenner. It was in the box as well.
Oh, you jammy sod.
I
paid about 25, 30 for mine, so I was fuming. So I remember getting that from Doncaster Toy Fair like 15 years ago and picking it up for like £3. when Power of the Force stuff was literally pocket money prices, and now it's like, yeah, you've got to take a fucking bank loan out for it again. It's annoying.
Genuinely, as we're going to see shortly, because I got the dewback because I've always wanted that. Sand Trooper's really cool as well. He does have his stick. He's just dropped it. Where do I start with today's haul, though? Where do I even start with that? So we went to Toys and Trains Sheffield, also Rails of Sheffield. And we got some pretty cool stuff. It's a great shop. If you're ever in Sheffield, it's definitely worth checking out. If you're a Star Wars fan or vintage toy collector in general, it's worth hitting up. Really, really great stuff. There's always something a little bit different every time I've been in.
Just a quick shout out as well, like great guy who runs it.
Absolutely.
And if you're on Facebook, Vintage Toys and Trains, like they've got some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
definitely. Like Dan says, worth checking out.
Power of the Force, even some newer bits, Black Series, little bit of something for everyone, I would say. Quite a nice amount of vintage. And I've been eyeing this up for ages, and I've not bit the bullet until today.
I forgot you got that.
I got a Darth Maul wristwatch, of which, that's going to fit lovely in my Darth Maul shrine. I'm undecided if I'm going to open it or keep it in the box.
Keep it boxed.
Yeah, I think I've got to, haven't I? But the horns are rubberized because, if you're a kid in school and you're wearing that, you're going to look badass anyway, but you got to keep it health and safety in mind. But that's absolutely awesome. It's so edgy. It's so at the time. I'm really pleased I got this. It's £7 as well, which, mental. Yeah. Not only that,
and prequel theme, so it's on brand.
Well, there we go. It's probably the only prequel thing I've actually picked up. Flipping out, this table is just full of stuff. Could have made an old flipping live stream on my haul.
I know, right? It might be, yeah.
Mummy Mothma, of which is also very relevant, given the recent trailer that we got this week. Mummy Mothma. Love that. She's going to go straight on my shelf. So that's what I got from Toys and Trades. Definitely could have got a lot more, for sure, because they've got a nice selection of Power of the Force at the minute. And then we went to Nostalgic Toys, which isn't too far from Toys and Trains. And I picked up... Hold on. Right, here we go. We got Jedi Luke, of which it's quite spenny, but I was fine with that. I've been meaning to get this one for some time. He's very cool. And then continuing the Power of Force train, as Steve did allude to, there are some Jawas. These are quite hard to find on eBay at the minute, or a bit spenny. So I was kind of fine with the price I paid for these. So they're
Cantina tax.
That's it.
Go. That's it. So yeah, got those bad boys. And then I don't do Funky Pops.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, we're going to finish soon. We're going to wrap my bit up. I feel like I'm just dominating.
You're fine, mate. Do it.
But again...
Oh, yes.
I'm not a Funky Pop collector, but I saw this one. I'm like, Daddy needs, because it's from my favourite scene in Andor. It's
and again, topical.
It's
topical.
Oh yes, it's great. So I'm really pleased I've got this one. And that is not it, because Steve and me went halves it. Well, not really halvesies. I can't do the mathins. It's easy math.
Yeah.
Not doing quick math though.
You paid for 3 of 4 figures.
I paid for 3 of 4 figures.
3 4 inch.
3 4.
Well, it came as a bundle, didn't it?
It came as a bundle.
And I needed 1 figure from said bundle, and you needed the other 3. And the bundle itself cost about the same. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, then you
Yeah.
already know. But if the bundle for all 4 was roughly the same price as the going rate for the one figure that I needed. So I was like, Dan, do you need these 3? Because I really want this. And we worked out a deal. So
we got
incoming.
These are all deluxes, which is quite topical as well.
Mm-hmm.
We got Bobby Fett with his. Oh, he's already got his wings flopped in. Ah, hold on. There
Don't
we
give
go.
away too much.
Oh, I just got to show that off. He's got his. I'll shoot you as well. The nice inside joke there to Liverpool Comic Con. Sorry guys. So there's a lot of inside jokes going on here.
It's all good.
So I've got my little pocket rocket, of which is that.
I'm a bit rusty. I didn't get that one.
And also we got Luke on his little sports skiff. Oh, he's packing as well. So yeah, he's lovely. A nice buff bod. And then also we got that's a good question. Where's he gone? Well, I've got the radar, but the fella that mans it is he's somewhere. Oh, he's somewhere.
We know. If you know, you know. If you're a product of the 90s, then
yeah, you know what he look. Look, I'll just show. Here we go.
Show the other one.
There
you go.
One. He's not got the brown.
That's
parts.
it. Like Galactico says, Echo-based defense turret and fella.
And fella.
We all know.
That's me. That's me. There we go.
Dear. Show and tell with
that.
that.
He fell off. I'm sorry for dominating. Get me off screen. Right. Come on, stop it.
Good stuff, mate. Show and tell with Dan. Bloody hell. Fantastic. Well, that like I said, the deluxe portion of that show and tell ties in quite nicely because we've got a couple of future live stream announcements to share. We don't have all the details worked out on this one yet because it's going to be a bit of a packed house. So what me and Dan are planning on doing, because we have both just recently completed the Power of the Force Deluxe line between us.
Well,
we're going to do well. I've completed. Well, I mean, like because you've got some of the figures, I've got some of the figures. So
yeah,
like what we're going to do, and another one of us has gotten some of the figures as well, but I think needs to go out and buy some more. We're going to do a bit of because 2025 is the year of anniversaries. And we're celebrating 20 years of Revenge of the Sith. We're celebrating 10 years of The Force Awakens. But everyone seems to forget that we're also celebrating 30 years of Power of the Force, or Power of the Force 2. And as such, I feel like it's only fitting that, given the massive amount of love that we have for Power of the Force 2, that we're the only ones on the internet to celebrate it. So, coming soon, details to be confirmed, but myself, Dan, and the Forces with Jesse are going to be coming together, plus a very special unannounced guest who is going to offer some really, really cool insight into all the packaging variants and just the history of that line altogether, because he's just a fountain of knowledge when it comes to stuff like that. We're going to get together and we're going to do a bit of a celebratory live stream for Power of the Force 2, but mostly focusing on the deluxe line. So it's going to be a bit of a live review / just chit chat. Like I said, just a celebration of Power of the Force 2. And I'm really, really excited for that. So there'll be an announcement going out about that very, very shortly. But yeah, if you're in the market for some 90s nostalgia, that'll definitely be worth checking out. I'm planning maybe a little showcase of my collection, my Power of the Force 2 collection as it stands now, because it has grown significantly since that side quest stream that we did a couple of years ago. So that'll be cool to share. And Dan's been on a little bit of a binge himself.
A little bit.
So yeah, Power of the Force 2. Love to see it, and I'm really, really excited for that stream. So so stay tuned for all the deets on that one. Like Dan, I've spent a bit of moolah myself today. Started off in Rails, where I picked up Hoth Leia, which has been one that I've been wanting to add to the collection for a while. Picked these all up at decent prices as well. Some of them are on my eBay watch list for a little bit more than what they were going for in brick and mortar. So I'm happy with that. Hoth Leia, be opening her up, getting her on the display. Also picked up one of the most boring figures ever released, but Kenner at the time somehow managed to find a dynamic way to jive him up. So we've got Disco Flair's Lobot going on, which is just, if you're a Star Wars, you're a kid at Christmas in 1998. What one figure do you want to add to your collection? Do you want Han Solo? Nah. Do you want Darth Vader? Nah. Do you want Luke Skywalker? Nah. Do you want a Millennium Falcon? Nah. Fuck off. I want Lobot. I want Lobot because he is just the epitome of excitement. So there he is. But what's also cool is that, coupled with a couple of eBay finds that I've made recently as well, is that these figures complete my run of figures that were released in 1998 with the freeze frames. So I'm really buzzing about that. Also got the Death Star Trooper as well, which is going to look nice in my Detention Block Rescue playset. Decent figure as well, I think, regardless of articulation and stuff, one that sculpt-wise at least definitely still holds up today. So I'm happy with that. And then, like Dan was saying, we bobbied on off to Nostalgic Toys afterwards as well, and finally made the purchase on Wicket and Logray, which, like the Jawas that Dan shared, are ones that you don't see all that often, and when you do, they tend to be a little bit higher up there in price. So I didn't think that was too bad, so nabbed those for the display as well. And yeah, like we were saying with the deluxe stuff, I picked up the probe droid as part of that bundle as well. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm running out of Power of the Force 2 stuff to buy. So I'll be looking at another side quest to start probably not long after. But now that display is coming together really nicely. Really, really excited to celebrate 3 decades of Power of the Force 2. That's just wild. Absolutely wild. But yeah, good stuff. James, mate, what about you? Have you picked it up recently?
Not got them on hand to show, but I got the Vintage Collection Imperial Disguise Chopper, Lieutenant Callahan, and the new Snowtrooper. Entertainment Earth in America started shipping cases, and there was somebody that did a case break and was selling like all the spares loose, and it worked out a bit cheaper than what I got pre-ordered. So I just thought, bugger it, had them. Came pretty fast, to be fair. So that Snowtrooper's wicked. Quality.
Good. Didn't fancy Aura Singh to go with him?
No. No.
Wonder why.
Didn't fancy a Dr. Evazan either.
Yeah. Well, if you've been collecting for any period of time, then there's no real reason to go back and pick up those 12-year-old figures, is there? But there we go. Good stuff. What is this? Recent Pickups has turned into a 3 3/4 inch love fest. Like, what's that all about? I feel dirty. Let's get back. That's it. Let's get back to the good stuff, though, because, like I said, we did get some reveals recently that we'll dive into before we touch on our wish list. So, in the spirit of 3 3/4 inch, we'll start with the Vintage Collection, and we got the first announcement was to continue the Cantina hype. Another 12-year-old re-release, but be that as it may, it's Ponda Baba.
He's armless.
He's happy with that one. You know, some of these figures speak for themselves. I'm not going to spend hours talking about these because we're not here to dive into it all, but it is what it is. I've seen the backlash surrounding the card back, because it is a little bit weird that they went back and changed it. I don't think anybody would have really complained if they just re-released it on the card back it came out on 12 years ago, but for some reason they decided to spice it up a little bit. But they didn't even go back and put it on the original card that it came on the first time around. So it's a weird one. It's a very, very weird one, and I get the frustration. It's odd, inconsistent, but be that as it may, it is, like I said, it is what it is. We don't tend to get into the nitty-gritty of vintage cards on these streams, but one figure that sort of continues the Power of the Force 2 love, and I'm kind of here for it, is Hammerhead. Now, I've got to admit, when you talk about the Black Series Vintage Collection divide, I've got to hand it to TVC on this one, because this is like, again, despite card back controversy, the way that this figure has been done is what I wanted in Black Series. Yeah. So despite how good that Black Series figure is, this is just a lot better. And like I said, the continuation of that Power of the Force 2 love, the fact that they not only included, but resized, resculpted that Power of the Force 2 blaster, the double-barreled blaster cannon, is just unreal. I love that. That is so cool.
Including the stuff as well. Like you taking two generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even maybe it's great.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool, and I get why people have said, why couldn't they have done this in Black Series? Look, it was probably very, very easy to do this in 3 3/4 inch because they already had the mold for the staff, as it came with the Saga collection, I believe, in 2006.
Yeah,
Hammerhead, the blaster. I didn't realize it was a resculpt originally. I thought it was just a straight repack of the Power of the Force 2 one, which is just mad. And yeah, it is, like I said, it is how the Black Series one should have come, but like I said, I've got to hand it to TVC on this one. Like I said, despite cardback controversy, because as Matt in the comments has pointed out, this one is sadly going to be a deluxe. Not quite sure why, but it is. And yeah, 25 quid for a 3 3/4 inch figure is pretty wild. Pretty wild. And I can't, I'm struggling to see the value there when, like Matt says, Black Series 6-inch figures are discounted at the minute, but even before discount, they retail for around the same price. So it's weird. I'm not going to go into the rant about the pricing and all that sort of stuff, but it's there, and it's an issue. But whatever, it is what it is. One figure though that I think from TVC that I think the three of us are probably equally excited about, and it is a deluxe, and it doesn't necessarily warrant it again, but it's at least there's something interesting going on with it. It's the Imperial Commander from The Mandalorian. Now, James, we spoke to you in the past about your 3 3/4 inch focuses when it comes to vintage collections. So I'm assuming this is going to fit right at home in your collection.
Oh, yeah. Similar to you with Hammerhead, this is where I think we should have got in Black Series.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not mad by any means that this has turned out better, because for somebody that collects a lot of the same figures in 2 different scales, when they can offer something better in one or the other, I'm all for that, because then it doesn't make me feel quite as much like a mug for buying 2 of the same thing in different sizes. But hey, no, I like this. I like that they've thought to put the accessories in. I mean, even if you're buying one of this, it sort of then entices folks that maybe haven't already to go and get that Imperial base Mandalorian that came out. Because the biggest issue with that one for me was it came with no weapons that he used in the Imperial base. So I got some 3D printed blasters that he takes off the officer versions of these guys, but swapping out the shield and the electro stuff, that's pretty cool. And then you've still got your trooper.
It's a proper army builder, isn't it? That's the key takeaway here, is that you can pick 2 or 3 of these up swap out, like you said, swap out the weapons, put the shield in the baton with one, the blasters with the other. It's like you can diversify your ranks and really bulk out your squad with it. So I'm all for this, absolutely, and I'll definitely be picking up at least a couple.
See, I'm just going to get one for now. I was talking to one of the guys from Twin Suns on Instagram. I never know which one I'm talking to, so I apologise. But with it coming out as a deluxe first, it does give a lot of potential for them to either do maybe a 4-pack in the future for an army builder set. With what we were talking about was, if they did a 4-pack, they could include one of the officers that's got the red boots and gauntlets. Or they could just put it on bare bones single card with a different image, like they did with the Dark Trooper. Sorry. But yeah, I'd like to get a couple. I'll just get one of this for now, though, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, it's good, man. I like it. What about you, Dan? I know you don't tend to dabble in TVC much, but
I'm jealous.
It's pretty cool, right?
I'm really jealous.
It is how the Black Series one should have come as well. But
yeah. I mean, I really like the Black Series figure. I think it's fantastic. And I think if it had have come with all the accessories that this came with, perfect figure. I wouldn't have had, anything, a bad word to say about it.
It's just a little bit light on the
anyway.
No, it was just light on the accessory side, wasn't it? Because it just came with the blasters and that was it. But no, I must admit, when this one got revealed, I was like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot they used all that lot as well. So it's like it was good. I was pleasantly surprised by it, and it's just like it's one of those like it's nice to see that like they thought outside the box and didn't just plonk a trooper in with a blaster. It's like they went the extra mile and added all the other bits in, and it just made a really quality looking figure. I'm jazzed about this. I'm really excited for it. So yeah, kudos Hasbro, kudos. So yeah, happy days. Not bad reveals on the TVC side of stuff for the most part. But I think it's safe to say that dare I say it, Black Series took the day. And we'll start off with the new media stuff because some of what was revealed ties quite nicely into what brings us together tonight for the prequel wish list. So we'll kick things off with staying on the theme of the Mandalorian. We've got the Praetorian Guard, which I'm just like, yes, instant pre-order. Like armor design, soft goods. Again, it's an army builder because you've got the multiple weapons in there. This is just so cool. I think it's mint. And yeah, I'll be picking at least a couple of these up. What about you two?
I'll probably just get one just because of space right now. The Mandalorian stuff tends to take up a lot of room.
It sure does. I'm saying I'm getting two, but I don't know where the fuck I'm going to put them.
Yeah. I will get one. It makes me wonder if they're going to endeavour to put out the one that's got, because there is a third weapon that's used. Some sort, is it a sword or some kind of different staff? Because I know with the Last Jedi version they did, 3 different. They covered all the versions and different, stories.
But they made them absolutely impossible to get.
Yeah. What I'm not keen on is they've just reused the legs off those guys, and if you're familiar, they have some of the worst ankles in existence.
Yeah,
they're some of the only Black Series figures I consciously went out of my way to buy the SH Figure Art versions instead, because they just don't stand up after 5 minutes of pissing around with them. And to make it worse, they're still doing that dirty little game of photoshopping the pins out of the joints on the promo shots.
That's so annoying.
So it looks like they're new, but then if you watch the figure that they had on the table for the stream, it's very much the old legs.
That's annoying.
Looks good though. I'll buy it. I don't know why I'm moaning. Moan about it all the time, but I still fucking spend my money on it. So
this is it, isn't it?
Hey-ho.
You've got us over a barrel.
My small critique, even though I will be buying 3 of these, or 2 at least, is I wish they'd put the sort of energy purple effect.
Yeah.
In like painted over either the sword wiggly wavy sword thing with not gold, silver details. Yeah, my colours right. And then on the other one, like have the purple effect, either removable or just work something out how to have it as a blade. But to be honest, it looks great. Figure itself, and the accessories, the fact that it comes with 2 different versions, so you can mix and match. And again, like we said with the Imperial Super Duper Commando White Boy, he's you know, it's what you want. You want from an army builder. So yeah.
Were you guys watching the stream when they brought this one out?
Yeah.
I think I was. Yeah, I had it on mute.
Did anyone else's heart skip a beat when they put Paz Vizsla on the table?
Yeah.
For a second, did you think we were getting yet another reissue?
I thought it was going to be a multi-figure pack, and I was like, no, don't do this to me.
I thought that, to be fair, I thought that at first when I first tuned in because they'd already got Mando and Bo-Katan on this table. I was like, ain't no way they're doing this again. What is that? And then I just realised that they were just there for context, and I was like, that's all right, then I'll let you off, you crafty little devils. But yeah, I panicked. I was like, I was like that woman on that video, like, oh my god, not another one. I was like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, dodged a bullet on that front. But no, I think like you said, Dan, like that's the only thing that I feel like is missing from Black Series figures is just that little extra touch,
the cherry
to make these figures a little bit more dynamic. You know, they do it now and again with flame effects and all that sort of stuff, and blaster effects, but just do a little bit more, like you say, like, you know, that those electricity vibrate, you know, that just take it over the edge. I'd be buzzing with that. But hey ho, it is what it is.
It nicely accompanies the next. Well, I'm assuming the next figure.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's absolutely. I've got to do it. Keep it on theme, because I've got to admit, like, I'm excited for the Praetorian. I'm even more excited for this. This is just we knew it was coming. We'd seen the parts leaked, but
it's just something else.
Yeah, I'm going to get my gripe out of the way first, and then I'll let you guys take the floor. But superb looking figure, but that cape doesn't look very good to me. That's the only issue I've got with it.
Yeah.
It's
the jetpack's fixed over it as well, from what they said on the stream. So that's, if you get a factory error, that's going to be a right bitch.
Yeah,
it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it'll look better. The final product may look better. But yeah, the cape just looks, I don't know whether it's just the placement or whether it's like a little bit too thin, or I just feel like what they've been doing with soft goods recently is like, yeah, that's the stuff. But this is like going backwards a little bit. Like I said, not sure whether that's just because of the fact that this is, maybe it is, maybe it isn't the final product. I don't know, but that's the only issue that I've got with it. But everything else, and we've just been talking about like electricity effects and stuff. Look at that. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And like Matt said as well in the comments, excellent likeness. Like that's one of the things with some of these reveals. Like and Brandon stressed it in the stream as well. But likenesses are just getting better and better and better. And this is, you know, I thought the original Moff Gideon Black Series figure had a decent likeness, but this is just leaps and bounds above that. You know, it's so good. So good. Removable helmet, blaster, baton. Oh, it just looks mint. I love it.
Part of me had a feeling with this one when it was announced, were they going to deluxify it? I
wouldn't have been surprised.
Because, you know, it's quite a chunky figure, like, you know, the armor wise. So to see it actually in mainline is, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, originally I wasn't the biggest fan of this costume, just because I have my own pre-thoughts on what the Dark Trooper armor should be.
You and me both, Dan. You and me both. There he is. Look at that.
That big chonker. But in all intensive purposes, as I've kind of watched the series again, I've gone like,
Mm.
you know what? Yeah, that's fine. It's a new
Yeah.
take. It's a new it's Moff Gideon's version. I
Mm.
like it.
I think that's what I like about it as well, is that it just like, it speaks to Gideon's character of, I'm
Yes.
so up my own arse that I am gonna put, these look at these dark troopers. I'm gonna put myself in a dark trooper because I'm Billy Big Bollocks. Like it just speaks. It's the most Gideon thing to do, and I love it. It's just
It's
so
the horns on the
ostentatious.
helmet.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Like
just so egregious and like it's mint. I love it. But
yeah.
got to agree with the comments as well. Like, this is another one of those figures. Like, this falls into Cobb Vanth territory of, why is it taking so long to get it out? Like, to say that we're getting, like, we had Acolyte figures out around the same time as that series, and the same can be said for Skeleton Crew. And now we've got Andor figures coming out ahead of the show. Like, to say how cool this is, this should have been out. Not if not at the same time, definitely shortly after The Mandalorian came out, just to capitalize on everybody going, "Whoa, that looks mint." So, but I'm glad that it's here. Better late than never. I really do like it. It's definitely a pickup. It just looks sick. It's really, really good. But that's not the figure that I'm most excited about from this string of reveals, because the next one we got from new Disney Plus media is Cassian Andor and I love this so much. Like, shout out to the guys at Yak Face and Out of the Basement and all those sorts of sites who sort of showed us the leaked parts in the factory, like unpainted and all that sort of stuff, and we got a glimpse of the helmet in those shots, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I know that looks cool and I'm gonna want it. And then to see it finished and in situ, I'm like, yeah, I love that. It's such a cool design. I must admit, I'm quite surprised that it was made for a Cassian figure. I honestly thought that it was just going to be a pilot that we were going to get. So this is like kills two birds with one stone, because you've got Cassian and a TIE pilot, so you can pick up two. Multi-purpose, multifaceted. But it
This,
just
sorry, Steve.
no, you're all right. I was just going to say it just looks fucking sick.
This this almost feels like, I'm probably wrong, but this is just how I felt when they were showing it off. Is for the first time in a long time, it feels like, oh, look, there's a figure from something we haven't actually seen yet.
Yeah,
That it is probably, by the time we've watched it, going to be full of context and not just some trooper. Because the guys, when they were revealing it, like, oh, this one's really great. It's like, can't wait to see what this one does in the show, almost as if they were given a small brief or something. Because they're like, oh, he's going to fly something cool, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, people that know Star Wars kind of already fucking know what's going on. I mean, I don't even remember where I saw it, but I think it's in a new trailer, right? If you watch the right parts.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be fucking sick, man. And
Yeah.
I think that's like probably one of the, if we're assuming like it's going to be part of like one of the 3 episode things, however they're doing it, almost like a mini movie each week. And this is one that I'm properly excited for.
Yeah, me too.
Can't wait to get this one.
Yeah, it's so good. Dan, I'm guessing this is. I know what you're like with Andor, so this is. Monday rubbing intensifies.
Immediate pre-order, I think, on this one.
Definitely.
I mean, to be honest, I could see myself, if I see it in Forbidden Planet, I've got it on pre-order, picking up another and having it carded or in box.
Yeah, it just looks good, doesn't it? I mean, like, even like aside from the helmet design, it's like the entire outfit is just really, really cool. I just think it's just one of those. Like, it's weird because out of the 3, like, we've seen the Praetorians in action, we've seen Gideon in his Dark Trooper armor in action, and we know that when we saw those on screen, we were like, yes, they need figures. But this is the one that I'm instantly gravitating towards in terms of like which one I'd pick up first, and that's a weird thing You know, to say like, oh, I've wanted these figures for a lot longer, and I've not even seen this guy in action yet, but I want it more. It just speaks to, I think that speaks to the fact that Star Wars, despite being nearly 50 fucking years old, still continues to churn out these absolutely incredible character designs. And I'm so here for this. Like, I can't wait for this figure, and I can't wait for Andor Season 2. So just hook it into my veins, man. I'm so giddy. I'm so giddy. It's such a cool looking figure, man, and I love that Crash said in the comments as well. It looks goofy as fuck. Like the helmet is just so, again, egregious and ostentatious, but it's just cool. It's just really, really cool. So yeah,
How
I'm
many
here for it.
Andor figures have we got now? Maybe like 15 or something with what's been revealed. My Kingdom for, a Cyril Khan, please, somebody.
Oh, come on, Cyril Khan. Bring the cereal as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It's all right. We got another Andor figure revealed as well, but like an absolute knob, I've not loaded it into the deck, so bear with me 1 second. There he is. Cheeky little scamp nearly escaped me. Here he comes. It's an older figure. See what you did there? It's an older figure. It's an older figure, sir, but it checks out.
Oh.
Like, you know what? Krennic is my boy because he's like he's up there with Balin in terms of like one of my favorite characters to come out of Disney Star Wars. Like Rogue One. Oh man, I love me some Ben Mendelsohn. So this is long overdue. But again, it's a bit of a double-edged sword because it could have been updated. It could have had tweaks made, but instead we just get a photo reel update, which is fine. I just feel like I should have been a little bit more, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
It does look like in the trailer he's going to wear something a little more ornate at some point, like a ceremonial or, I don't know, special occasion Imperial outfit. But no, it's alright, I guess.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, it's one of those like people have been. It's one of those where I'm a little bit upset that it wasn't completely retooled and updated. But in its defense, it is one of those figures where everyone said, you know what, with the, I just feel like it'd have been. I know they're not like they're going with a different approach for archive, and we'll touch on that in a bit as well. But this would have been just like a perfect archive release. To see it in the main line, it's like, yeah, it's not passing it off as new when it's not. But it is one of those figures where everyone's sort of clamoured for it over the past couple of years. So it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Whether it's one I pick up, whether am I desperate for it? No, but am I happy to see it? Yeah, because that head sculpt is and the photo reel is decent. But Dan, getting it? I'm guessing you're getting it.
I'm gonna get it, and even the old version of Krennic, I'm just gonna put on my Imperial shelf now. It's just a way to shuffle the old one along. But I think what would have made this even better is if they did, because the original, get words out. There was that Imperial, wasn't there, in the Andor line, right? That had the long flowing cloak. I'm pretty sure in Rogue One he wears a similar thing like that. I know it's not Andor, but I feel like they could have got away with it if they'd actually just changed the cloak out and put that on him recoloured.
Yeah. Well, we were saying this. We were saying this, weren't we? Before we went live, like it should have been, wouldn't have tied into Andor. So I get, the current media and wanting to tie it in with all that because it would have reflected his Rogue One appearance more. But I really want to see Raincoat Krennic. I want to see him on. I want to see his Edu costume. I want to see his. I forget the planet that Galen Erso goes and disappears to, but I want to see that. And when we're initially introduced to Krennic, when he's got the cap and he's got the cape and he's out in the rain and he's getting soggy, like, give me soggy Krennic, please. Like, it's just It's like JPK says as well. Like I've got to agree with that. Like it is hard to justify the full price for a figure that is currently sitting on discount elsewhere, but just has a new head. It's one of those. It is what it is, but that's the one. Thank you, Harry. Lamu. I completely forgot what it was. So apologies, but yeah, it's
somewhere there's a production guy going, I know we put those big fucking names of the planets on the screen in Rogue One for a reason.
Yeah. Obviously didn't register with some people, but
it's alright, mate. I couldn't fucking remember it neither.
Oh dear. Well, going from Andor and talking about helmets and rubbing our Mondays, let's talk about another helmet. Continuing on with Black Series, and again we're getting into the topical realm now because we are on a prequel trilogy wish list, despite having spoken for nearly an hour about other stuff. We do have again, not one that inspired me too much, but it's one that has probably been asked for quite a while. People will have their issues with it, I'm sure, but 501st Black Series Roleplay helmet is finally coming, and I've got to say, there was a small part of me that when this got revealed, I was like, I look really, really nice next to my Captain Rex helmet. So I don't know. I'm like sort of. I'm on the fence at the minute. I can't commit, but it ends up cheap enough. I might. I just think it'll look really nice. But that's by the by. Again, this sort of falls into the TVC category for the three of us, as we tend to cherry pick. But one for you guys?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Just whilst we're on the subject of helmets, have either of you guys seen Mankind selling them? If you've got a Mankind store, I don't know how.
Yeah.
Frequently. Can we start a mass revolution against them for charging like nearly £40 over the fucking retail price for them?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't
bastards.
It is. It's mad. It's mad.
It just boils me piss every time I walk past.
Yeah. To be honest, it's one thing. It's the biggest reason why I don't tend to walk in Mankind, because I'm just sort of number one. You've got men in the name, and that makes me feel a bit, misogynistic. And also, like, I'm looking at all the stuff they've got, and I think that's overpriced. And I've not even walked through the door.
Yeah.
It's like, no, thank you.
And you get attacked by a fucking hovercraft.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I'm overstimulated as it is.
Yeah. As soon as you walk in the door, you've got a drone to the face. It's like, fuck. Like,
it's the other tat as well they've got. And I just think, why do you exist? What's your purpose?
It's the fact that they charge like 24 quid for individual pops, and then they've got they charge 15 quid for individual pops, and then they've got the goal to sit there and be like, oh, you could buy two for £28. It's like, or I could and get them for a £5 and buy two for a £10. What are you talking about? It's mad. It's mad. Like Dave says, they're about 160 quid, these helmets in there. It's just crackers. It's crackers.
And they wonder why they went into administration for a small period a few years ago.
I'm amazed they got out of it. It's mental. It is absolutely crazy. But I don't know. It's topical, but like I said, it's one of those. It's a niche market, I think. I'll say it again for the people that are excited about this. I'm buzzing for you. Like I said, if I see this cheap enough, I might have to. Because at the minute, I've got Rex and Captain Cardinal sat next to each other, and that's tickling my OCD a little bit. Yeah. So I might have to swap the Cardinal out at some point just to get this in there. And like I said, I think it'd display really nicely with Rex, but I don't know. I think I'm just holding out for that Commander Cody one. Do you know what I mean? Like that's that's where I'm holding my. Yeah. I'm trying, I'm biding my time because I'm like, this would look nice with a Rex, but that would look even better. So I'm just like, maybe one day they'll do it. So Fingers crossed. But yeah, staying on the prequel train, let's dive back into some Black Series 6-inch figures. And repacks or not, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to start with what I feel to be the strongest release out of the three, just because I feel like it's the best figure. I might be, alone in that sentiment, but for me, this is the best of the bunch. Look at that packaging, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
We got a taste of it with Code, but we're continuing that theme, and I am so here for this. Like, we talked about Power of the Force earlier and nostalgia, but there's a part of me that is gutted that it isn't R4G9 or R4P17. Just to throw a different droid out there.
Oh, mate, G9, yes, please.
Yeah, but this is cool, and as a sometimes carded collector, I'm here for it. I understand the frustration surrounding the whole repack debacle, but just approaching this purely from a packaging perspective, can we just take a moment to just I just love it. I love it. I don't know what it is, like seeing this nostalgic packaging upscaled and brought to life in Black Series. Like, I appreciate that there's a crowd out there that'd be like, well, this should be in 3 3/4 inch as well. But in its defense, 3 3/4 inch had its time with these versions of the packaging. So, they're still accessible if you want them. But to see it bigger, it's just, it gets me, it's
a satisfying itch is scratched, isn't it?
This is it. And it's like Lecter says, I'm just rubbing the Monday. It's class. It's class.
I was sat there looking at it like, I don't need this, but then I saw the jets.
Yeah.
It wasn't included with the original, and I'm like, oh.
That's the thing that might sway me as well.
If what would sway me more though is if this is like a little tease, a little crumb, because we've already got a super battle droid sculpt.
Yeah.
Come on, just include the flame and oil effect.
That's what I really wanted.
Put that on him and just
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's what I wanted. Just a pure recreation of that 30th anniversary collection figure where you can position the super battle droid underneath the flames, and then the flames act as a display stand as well. Perfection. But I'll take it. It's fine. It's fine. This definitely one for the carded collection. Like I said, I have the R2 already, so I'm perfectly fine with that. But yeah, just like I said, from a packaging perspective, I love it. Yeah, I've got to agree with all the comments. Nostalgia, beautiful stuff. Get what JPK is saying. Definitely a random assortment of figures. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put the four that they're releasing together, but be that as it may, the next one we're getting is Dooku. Again, fantastic figure. Doesn't really need any tweaks or retools. It's fine as it is. Looks fire on that packaging once again. Yeah, just like I say, just a very, very random assortment of characters. And I think it was Twin Sons on Instagram who put together that, we've got 5 characters or four or five, whatever it is, in this assortment that never interact with one another or have anything to do with each other on screen, just thrown out into this random wave. And that's, it is what it is. We do get waves where characters never interact with each other, but it's just when you're putting together a celebration wave, like, it would have just, for me, this wave should have been, and we might still get it, who knows, but it should have been Anakin, Obi-Wan, Code. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just something else, just something that tied.
It's kind of weird though, because this seems like, I think we were talking about it, Steve, where it's meant to be a bit of a replacement of Archive, but then you've got that Cody that's a completely new figure on this card. So it's interesting what they're going for with it. Like you said, I would have loved to have seen Obi-Wan and Anakin on this. Like, and even God forbid, any glup shito type characters like Ty or Mead on.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just really interesting to me with the character selection. I think in terms of for those who've missed out, this is a great opportunity because I think Dooku fetches a bit of a
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was.
not rare, but he's creeping up.
Yeah, he were a sticky customer to find on the secondary market, wasn't he? After his initial release, so, and not so much now. I don't think. I think he fetches a little bit more than some of the other figures in that wave. You can pick up a Knight of Ren or a Sith Jet Trooper for relatively cheap money these days, but Dooku still tends to fetch a little bit over his original retail.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. Like, it is great for people who did miss out. The next one, especially, I think, is definitely a harder to find one. So it's really good that he's getting a re-release again, random assortment, but yeah, that's by the by. Kit Fisto. Now, when this figure came out originally, it was like could have been better because it was like a retooled Obi-Wan and all that sort of stuff, but. You know what? It's fine. It's like you said. It's a good way to get it out on the market again for those who missed it. I do agree with some of the comments and some of the discourse around it that said, he should have thrown a bloody soft goods robe on it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, the original one didn't come with a robe, so this is quite fitting. It ties in and it's fine. It's like I said, I can't get over the random assortment. It's just weird. But just like I said, going back from a purely carded perspective, I think this is definitely the stronger of the three that look how they look in the packaging, because that image on the side looks class. Like, the figure looks good in the box. Yeah, I'm going to get the lot. I regret not getting a carded set of the original Clone Wars ones that came out, where you had Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Hawk. Again, Hasbro just love their random assortments. So
that made a bit more sense. I think that was a fire wave.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
they were all new as well at the time, as well. I know it's not the same, but I'm sure we'll see Anakin and Obi-Wan, maybe convention exclusives or something. There's no way they can do this without putting those two in.
Definitely. But, I must admit, I had completely forgotten about the rumor, because there is a fourth one coming.
Yeah.
And I had completely forgotten about it as a rumor. So I was like, they're teasing a fourth one. That's going to be Anakin. They're saving it for later on, but they're going to do Anakin. And then I was like, oh no, that's the original rumored figure.
Yeah.
And it's, spoiler alert for those who don't know, but it is the 501st Trooper. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I'm glad that they're putting out a random assortment of characters, because, like I said, from a carded collector perspective, I'm going to pick up figures from this wave just to keep on the card. And so what I'll probably do is pick up Cody and the 501st Trooper, just so I've got two figures that at least have some sort of connection to one another, shall we say.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll do. So I appreciate that there's that, selection there for those who want them. But yeah, I was just a little bit like, oh, yeah, that's a shame. I wish it was Anakin, but I dare say it probably will be. They'll be doing themselves a massive disservice if they don't release at least. Yeah, I'd love Anakin and Obi-Wan, but at least Anakin on this card, because that's Revenge of the Sith. This card and that character, that's Revenge of the Sith. So get it out there. But yeah, what are you guys feeling about this? Are you, because I know Dan, you're more of a, I know James, you're a bit of a more of an opener than we are, and we tend to pick up carded samples. But does this packaging speak to you enough to be like? Because what did you do? What did you do with the Clone Wars 2008 figures? Did you keep any of those carded?
Yeah, I bought 2 sets.
So what about
I was thinking about doing the same with these, but I don't know. I knew what the figures were getting into it before they were revealed, but I seen them as maybe changed my mind. I do like that packaging a lot, but it is an obscure bunch. If they do Anakin and Obi-Wan, I'll absolutely get those two twice over, so I can keep some carded. I have got a second Cody ordered, So if I have those 3, then I'll maybe make it 4 with the 501st. So I've got 4 Clone Wars, 4 Revenge of the Sith. The other ones, I don't know if it was the right choice. Credit to the people involved in getting this packaging up into 6 inches, and it's definitely better than doing archive.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think they could have put a bit of effort into some changes, because we are kind of forgetting that they started to improve some archive figures to the end of that line.
Yeah.
And it was just subtle things like Kit Fisto should have had a robe, and then Revenge of the Sith is got more of a pinkish hue to the tunic that he wears. So they could have just painted it to look the part. I'm fine with R2. I am thinking about getting R2 to open because of the thrusters making him more of a Revenge of the Sith version. Dooku's great. I'll be eager to see Dooku in hand, just because he was part of one of the early waves of the face printing tech or whatever it's called these days. So it might have improved significantly. But that's about it, really. I'm not sure what I'll do at the minute. I'll let time take its course, and I'll figure it out a bit later down the road.
I think it's one of those as well. I think because it's it's an anniversary year, should I say? I've got a feeling that we might see more, and I really like what Matt's just pointed out in the comments, that it was SDCC when they did the Phantom Menace, Maul, and Kenobi as exclusives to the event, and then they did the follow up wave. Maybe they're holding other characters back for a Comic Con exclusive like that.
I hope so.
Like if they did Anakin and Obi-Wan as a some sort of bundle, like that'd be.
We've said it before. If they include the panning droid and the actual platform where they're fighting, do that as like a window box set, I'm sold. I'd buy that in an instance, maybe even 2, if it's like a nicely displayed thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, because they can retain some of the design elements of the packaging as well into it all, can't they? So I think there's a lot they can do. There's a lot they can do, and I think given how I've heard Brandon speak about his passion for that packaging in the first place, and like how instrumental he's been in getting it, into circulation, and the fact that you could just tell that they were buzzing to see it. I feel like there's going to be a little bit more coming on that front. At least I hope. But whether or not the character selection was the right one, not entirely sure. But it is what it is. It's still just really, really cool to see. So I'm definitely here for it. For sure.
Hopefully it's a nice taste to see if we do get Obi-Wan, we do get Anakin. Or what I would say as well is if we get Grievous.
Yeah.
Grievous on that card would be really cool. I'd buy
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have probably done Anakin, Obi-Wan, Grievous. Take the Yoda out of that 2-pack.
Yes.
And bang him in one of them. Because even if it's in a box like that, size discrepancy for your money tends to go out the window to a certain extent.
Yeah. I mean, they could have done it where they packaged the chair with him as well. So
I forgot about the chair.
That's it. Yeah.
There'd have been ways around it. I liked what Jake mentioned in the comments about doing a recreation of the sneak preview wave and doing like I said originally, R4 G9.
Yeah.
What else was in there? The Wookiee Warrior. Tion Medon, like you said, Dan, and there was General Grievous. General Grievous.
Yeah, with the cape and the blue lightsaber, right?
I'm right there with you, Bobcat. Like, I would sell my liver to get a Grievous in that packaging. Like, I'd be perfectly happy with him just re-releasing that. Like, as janky as he is, and as much as he needs an update, like original Grievous in that style packaging. Fucking hell, sign me up, man. Oh, Jesus.
The Magna Guard. If they did the Magna Guard,
nice.
Like, go on, then.
And I'd be all for that as well, to be fair, because I didn't pick up the original Magna Guard. So bit of a repaint, make him a little bit more silvery, bluey, like the original episode 3 figure. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that would have been good. Hopefully, if that rumor list is to be believed, we were discussing last stream, if they do a different version of Bly or just repack him, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that concludes it for reveals. So, shall we get into the meat and bones of what we came here to discuss in the first place before Hasbro hijacked it and decided to reveal stuff conveniently ahead of time? As you will have guessed, if you've only just joined us, from the title of this stream, we are here to pitch our prequel trilogy wish list for the Black Series. Now, it's only been in like recent, I'll not even say recent years, because it's only been over the past few months, really, that Hasbro started to share the love for the prequel trilogy again. We seemed to have a little bit of a drought for a while, didn't we, of prequel figures in the Black Series, and it was only with the sort of release of the Super Battle Droid, Darth Sidious, Ki-Adi-Mundi, characters like that, little Anakin and all that sort of thing, that we've seen a resurgence for the prequels, and I'm here for it. But as we've always said on these streams, life is, and we know we shouldn't, but we do. So Hasbro, please give us some more. So let's just like dive in, and before we get into our wish list, we've got some honourable mentions to run through first. Because what would a wish list live stream be without some glup shito action? But just going around, like, I'm curious, Dan, James, what is of the 3 prequels, which is your fave? Take your time. We're here all night.
I'll go first. Go on then. I think while Attack of the Clones was one of the first Star Wars, was the first Star Wars film I saw at the cinema, Revenge of the Sith holds such a special place to me, because I remember it wasn't just the film, it was just the marketing for it. I remember getting a TV guide, which actually came with a whole feature on Revenge of the Sith, and I poured through that thing for ages. They had like a schematic of General Grievous that was probably taken from one of the books, the cross-section books. They had a whole thing about Invisible Hand, the ship. I was engrossed, that to the point that I made like a folder of Star Wars pictures that I drew. And I remember specifically, I didn't collect figures at the time. I was more into the Lego, and I got most of the Lego sets for Revenge of the Sith. I think I was only missing the Wookiee Catamaran, the Duel on Mustafar. I think those were literally the 2 that I missed out on. And I was just obsessed. It's what really made me love Star Wars, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, I've got big feelings for that whole packaging. Even though I didn't buy the figures, now because I'm an adult, I have disposable income, which is wonderful. It's what seeing the figures that Hasbro have released or announced gets me hyped. It gets me jazzed to potentially get an Anakin and Obi-Wan on that card. Hopefully. If they listen to our calls. But yeah, Revenge of the Sith, man.
Yeah, same for me, Revenge of the Sith. I remember getting a Total Film magazine at some point in 2005 that came with a DVD with all the latest film trailers on.
Yes.
And I must have worn it out just watching the Revenge of the Sith one. And it was that very first teaser that's where it starts with the Ben Kenobi speech about Anakin and the Clone Wars, and and then it's just before the Dark Times, before the Empire, and then you get sort of flashes and clips, and the Lord Vader, can you hear me? The controversial scene where his hands are raised up like this on the fucking stretcher thing.
Oh yeah, gotta remember that.
And fondly remember getting my first figure, which was the Anakin Skywalker, where he squoze his legs together and he slashed. The very first variant of that as well, where he came with a red and a blue lightsaber. I think it was a running change where the red lightsaber became a Dooku one. I don't know if that's right. I think did I read that somewhere?
Yeah,
but it
they
was
did
actually just like a red version of his, and the theories that conjured in the playground, let me tell you.
Yeah, they did a few
It was
running
good,
changes to some of the figures, didn't they? Because they released the Phase 2 Clone Trooper originally just as a plain white clone, and then later released the same figure, numbered the same in the assortment, but as a shock trooper. And that being like, I remember that being a thing because I'm sort of with you guys. Like, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite of the three. I've got fond memories of the other two, like Phantom Menace, the nostalgia and the childhood memories that I've got of the Phantom Menace, and I'm the same as you guys. Like, I remember TV guides and media marketing and stuff for the Phantom Menace and being like, "Holy crap, this is exciting! Look at all these new characters." Blah blah blah. I remember all the stupid toys. I remember the Jar Jar lollipop dispenser that is a bit nonsense now. I remember running around the playground in primary school with the little Jar Jar head running around with the sticky tongue and just whipping people with it, and and then it getting overly fluffy, and oh man, good times, good times. But for me, Revenge of the Sith, because how old was I when I was 14 when Revenge of the Sith came out, so I was just getting into that mentality of, because I kind of dipped off from Star Wars collecting around the time of Attack of the Clones. Like, I was dabbling in other stuff as well, and Star Wars wasn't as prevalent. I was still picking up the odd figure, but I just wasn't as invested around 2002, 2003. Whereas Revenge of the Sith pulled me right back in, and that's why I've got such fond memories for it, because I remember going into what is now John Lewis, but Cole Brothers at the time, where they had two separate stores, and they had that sort of the homeware side, and another side was just completely toys. And I remember going in there during the 6 weeks holidays from school with my nan. And I'd read on the internet, cause like I said, this is around the time that I just started dabbling in the fact that, okay, now I'm a serious collector, and I'm on the forums, and I'm on Rebel Scum reading all the intel about all the figures that are coming out. And I remember reading, I think it was probably on Rebel Scum or somewhere, that, I forget what date specifically it was. I'm pretty sure it was in April, some point in April, that this date, these stores, Revenge of the Sith figures will be made available. And I remember walking into John Lewis, like I said, Cole Brothers at the time, and seeing just these displays of all these Revenge of the Sith figures. And it was before the release date. And I was like, oh, they're out. They're already out. I can't believe it. And I was like, Nan, can I get my pocket money early? Like, at 14 years old, like, still getting pocket money and being this mental about toys. Like, what a little weirdo I was. But being like, like, I've seen things about these figures. Like, I'm so excited for this movie. Like, I've got to get something now. So I did, and I ended up being like, what do I pick? And I just got a handful. I think, like, she treated me to a few early birthday presents. I can't exactly remember, but I think I remember getting the deluxe Anakin. So I remember seeing Anakin and Vader on shelf individually and being like, well, why would I get Anakin and Darth Vader separately when I can get this deluxe set, which Anakin transforms into Darth Vader, and he's got a really, really buff chest, and the cape and helmet clip onto his head, and he's got the armor connectors, and I just saw, the value for money aspect and thought, no, I'm going to get that. I remember getting the electronic ATRT, the Phase 2 Clone Trooper, because this was around the time that I was just getting onto that Clone Trooper hype. What else did I get? I think that might have been it. But yeah, just having such vivid and fond memories of seeing those figures in stores and being like, yeah, this is sick. Like, this packaging is sick. This movie's going to be sick. Like, I just really, really fond memories of it. So yeah, and like I said, it's sort of from the release of Revenge of the Sith that my collecting journey sort of trailed off, and that's where I've ended up, because it was from then that I was like, do you know what? Even though over the years Star Wars has been in and out of my life, it's always been that one constant. in terms of what I collect and what I'm interested in and my hobbies and stuff. So maybe I just see it at this point. I'm just going to see it out, and 20 years later, here we are. So yeah, I'm with you right there. Revenge of the Sith is definitely the one for me as well. But that's sort of odd considering our honourable mentions, because we have what we've done is we've compiled a list to keep it short and sweet, despite almost being an hour and a half in. We wanted to pick just 3 figures not from each movie, but from across the trilogy. Just, because you could talk for hours about which figures you want to see from which movies, but just like I said, to keep it a little bit more concise, we've gone with 3 figures from the trilogy as a whole. But given the vast depth of characters and the well of characters that we could have dived into, it would have been amiss to not have some honourable mentions. So we'll kick things off with those first. I believe, James, your choice is up next. And
that's all right, because I can't remember what it was.
I've got a sneaky feeling that when you see it, you're going to be like, "Oh shit, how am I going to talk about this for a bit?" So, James, take it away, mate.
Oh right, I thought this was one of my actual fucking picks. Never mind. He's just a glub piece of shitos, man.
His facial expression.
I'll be honest with you. I don't want this figure because of the Phantom Menace, although that's what it's from. I used to watch. Did you guys remember when the Star Wars YouTube channel used to pump out the Star Wars show every Friday?
Yeah.
I used to watch that religiously, and the guys on there used to just hype the shit out of Kitster for no reason, because they hadn't made a Funko Pop or a figure of him, really. And they even got, for one of the celebrations, they got the actor Rahul Kohli to come in and do like a skit of a grown-up Kitster, like the Star Wars story you never wanted to see.
Wait, can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt? Rahul Kohli is Kitster.
Yeah, it was just like some crazy little skit that they'd put together because they were mates with him.
Oh, so Rahul Kohli didn't play Kitster?
No. I don't think so. Fucking hell, that might be a revelation.
I nearly had a meltdown. Then I was like, bloody hell.
No, I don't think so. No. But there was just this whole big bloody thing about it, and I'm not even sure if they've made a Funko Pop yet, despite the constant lobbying. But considering, the bare bones of the figure kind of already exist, in the Phantom Menace Anakin, it's just another one for go with him, and little buddy, little pal. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't seen the film in a little bit, but there's that scene when all the Anakin-aged people are there. Oh, it's never gonna run, and all this, and it's like, oh, let's go over here and leave this little slave kid to play with his big machine. And Kitster's the only guy that stays and helps him, man. So,
I'm bringing it back.
Superb. I mean,
I would buy a figure of that guy, and I don't care if anyone else wouldn't. Bollocks to you. I want it.
I would.
Hey.
Under the right circumstances, though, because I feel like this is as much as I think that little Anakin is a fantastic figure, I'm still in the camp of smaller figures. Coming 2-packs, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's just my thing, and it's whether it's on a single card or what, I don't care.
You got me thinking there.
So, right, and under the right circumstances, this would be a fine addition to the collection. But pack it in with Wald or Greedo or whoever that little Rodian is.
Greedo.
See, it was Wald for so long, and then they changed it to Greedo. Or is Wald different?
In a deleted scene, sorry, just to dump here.
No, you're fine.
There was going to be a deleted scene where Anakin beats the living snot out of Greedo.
And thus sets him on the path to bounty hunting in his adult life.
That's it. So that was cut out, and I think they changed the character's name to Wald. So
these villainous characters always have troubled backgrounds, don't they?
They do. Being beaten up by the main protagonist.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of your picks later on, Dan. But I think, like I said, in terms of 2-pack candidates. This is prime. So yeah, individual release, maybe not. But 2-pack, yeah, get him in there with the little child Rodian. I'd be there for it. Or like C-Line says in the comments, Kitster and Iope, which I believe was another deleted scene. Oh no, there's a scene as well where he rides in on the Iope, but I've seen the other scene where he's on it on his own. That'd be fine. I'd be content with that. Yeah, it's just like you said. It's if you're gonna throw honourable mentions out there, they've got to be glup shitters. Even though some of our main choices are glup shitters as well. But Dan, talk us through your pick because that is the gluppest of shitters.
This is Apono Rancisis, big beardy boy with the. He's such a weird character design, in general, because he literally just sits on the council. So you think, oh, he must have leggies. No, he don't have leggies. He's a big old sneaky snake. He's got a snaky body underneath. So I'm like, Hasbro have attempted it before where they've done this figure in 3 3/4 inch. And it was like that plastic which has got metal inside it so you can like bend it. It's like bendy wire, plastic jobby. And I don't know, how would they do this in Black Series? That's what just got my itch scratching. So I was like, how would they even attempt to do this old boy in terms of his leggies? Which, they are my favourite part.
They could probably... They could probably do it. Right, absolutely. They could.
Sorry, it just set me off. That did.
They could do it in a very similar way because I'm pretty sure there's been figures over the years that have used that same sort of malleable, like that plastic that you can bend and distort, and I'm pretty sure it'd be easy to do again. Like, I'm not a Marvel collector by any stretch, but I'm pretty sure there's got to have been a Doc Ock, or I'm pretty sure I had a Toy Biz Scorpion figure at one point that had a bendy tail. So I'm sure that there's an opportunity there to do it. My main thing with this one is just get some more council chairs out there, like we got with Yoda in that Gree 2-pack, and give us the opportunity to put together a full Jedi Council. And this is probably one of those figures that calls for it more, because I think without a council chair, how do you even begin to display this one on a shelf? Because it is just so weird. But yeah, and it's another one of those, isn't it? Just get more aliens into the line.
Yeah, I think that was the thing as well. It's like Hasbro could really tackle it in some really interesting ways. Like maybe they have an interchangeable torso where the actual tail is sculpted around the chair, and you just stick him on, or then you've got the additional tail piece. But no, it's just really interesting. I mean, there's a lot of interesting looking Jedi. I mean, Yariel Poof, who was my other sort of thought in terms of that, but.
Yeah. Can you imagine the size of that box? Like that Black Series
he'd
box.
Have his head outside the packaging, like he'd be looking up like that. Like, I'd buy it. Yeah.
It'd be mint. It'd be class. But yeah, it's just like you say, just one of them opportunities to just get more aliens out there, and it's just like they don't come much weirder, do they? Because he's just got a furry, beardy face. He's like fucking odd. I think the fact that this guy gets his true moment of glory in that Tartakovsky Clone Wars series as well, where he's out of all the Jedi on the council to give lines of dialogue to in that cartoon, who should we let speak? Beardy boy, Santa Snake over there, and he's just got the most you look at his face and then you're like, I wonder what he sounds like, and then you watch the Tartakovsky cartoon and you're like, of course he sounds like that. So yeah, I'd buy this absolutely 100%. My pick's a little bit more basic because I'm a basic bitch and I love clone troopers, but I can't. Do you know what? To me, it's it's an honourable mention. That's it was very, very almost my main pick for Attack of the Clones. but then I thought, actually, I've got a stronger case for another character that I'll make later on. But for me, the clone pilot, the Phase 1 clone pilot, is just one of those characters where I'm like, how the hell is this not a figure yet?
Yeah.
Especially in like I mean, I know we've had our fair share of 3 3/4 inch figures over the years, but like, how is this not a Black Series figure yet? How the hell did we get a clone pilot Hawk in that aforementioned Clone Wars wave before we got this? But it's another one of those examples where I'm like, do you know what? I'm glad they've waited because they finally perfected the clone body. And so if and when they do this figure, it's going to be the best it could possibly be. And I'm keen to see when this one gets released just how good it looks, because I think, like, you know, with that updated body, with the updated articulation, the clone helmets are the best they've ever been, in my opinion. So this is going to look really, really good. I'm really excited for it, and it's another one of those that just it opens up to repaints as well, because we've seen variations of this over the years in media and in figure form as well. So you can retool it down the line. I just think it's just one of those. It's just one of those figures where, like, yeah, Kitster and Oppo Rancisis, like, weird, get them out there. But this is like, come on, like, how is this not already? Yeah, how is this not already a figure? But I've got a feeling it's one of those where it's gonna happen eventually. The other two maybe have it. I tried to meet in the middle and go with, like, what's a figure that I really want to see but also has a realistic chance of getting made. So that's my pitch for the clone pilot. So yeah, some good choices. It was difficult, man. It was really difficult to, like, I thought that this would be the easier one of the 3 trilogies to pick characters from, but it was really difficult to narrow it down, especially to one character from each movie. But no, I'd buy all 3 of those, absolutely. Let's dive into our main picks. So we'll start off with Revenge of the Sith. Who wants to go first? Because I always cock up the running order of these and end up forgetting who's gone when.
Yeah, so go on. Let's get it out of the way, because this is probably the one I can talk the most about, other than just saying, yeah, I want it.
Yep, sound. All right, then. So, James, the floor is yours, my friend. Your first pick from The Phantom Menace.
I thought you just said Revenge of the Sith, Steve. You've thrown me off there.
I thought I said Phantom Menace.
No, you said Revenge of the Sith. I thought, oh, are we doing things?
Good.
Never mind. Never mind.
Sorry, yeah, my bad. See, I told you. I cock it up every time. It's my bad. I'm sorry. No, we're going chronologically. It makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
It's just the order of which things come out of my mouth don't. So
I think it's because you were that over impassioned about the Revenge of the Sith talk. It's just
absolutely was. I was just I'm overstimulated. I'm going to let someone else do some talking for a bit. I'm going to have 5 minutes because I'm having a moment and I'm getting giddy and I've had too much caffeine. So, gentlemen, as you were, please.
So I just want it. I think it's quite criminal. We haven't had considerably one of the main villains for the Phantom Menace. I mean, it's very easy to go, yeah, Darth Maul, he's cool, spins around, got a lightsaber, and Lord Sidious, he's always nice and sneaky boy. But then you've just got, like, for all intents and purposes, fucking Donald Trump of the Star Wars universe over here. Just, wants the best deal going, and if he has to block a planet off from, reaching the rest of the galaxy to make a better moolah, then he's going to do it.
It's fun and educational.
There we go.
It's topical.
Oh, this is going to be so topical. Great.
But no, man, I think we get a good figure out of this guy, and he's versatile, stick him in your Clone Wars shelf, ha 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 ha, James and Clone Wars once again. And, quit repaint, and suddenly it's Revenge of the Sith. So, there we go. Thank me later, Hasbro.
You'd have to do a little bit of retooling around the headdress, wouldn't you? But
yeah, he's got a bit of a taller headdress. I promise a piece.
Because that's what I was going to ask you. Actually, I was like, making the case for Newt Gunray in the Black Series from the Phantom Menace. Fair enough, but obviously you've picked him from the Phantom Menace and not Revenge of the Sith for a reason. But which costume would you rather see? Like, would you rather
this one? Yeah, absolutely. It's the most iconic.
Yeah,
that's what you think of when you think of Newt Gunray.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those as well where you could how you do it. I think there's no right or wrong way to put this one out. Because like soft goods, they could really go to town on it, and it'd just look phenomenal. But I think you could also get away with doing this in the same way they did Bib Fortuna with the plastic robes as well, and it wouldn't.
Yeah, either or. I mean, I've got full confidence in them doing soft goods now that they've done the Darth Sidious figure and the line. That was great. So I'm not going to be picky about it. Hasbro, whichever avenue floats your boat. Just, I would like this figure.
If they did do it with soft goods, what would be really cool is if they deluxed it and included.
Stop giving him ideas, Dan.
I'm sorry. But in this case, it would be justified because you could give him the little chair that he sits on.
Yeah.
Like a walking chair. That would look sick, wouldn't it?
Oh, it needs to be a deluxe then. In that case, it needs to be soft goods because otherwise you're not going to get him sat down. Yeah, no, I'd make a case for that. I'd buy that in an instant. That'd be mint. That'd be mint. Or like Collector Cove says, I'd even go for a cheeky 2-pack with the TC-14. I think that's another one. That's another one. TC-14 on that better articulated 3PO body. Yeah, that's another one that needs to go on the wish list. But yeah, it's like you said, James. It's another one of those, isn't it? It's like it's a criminal act that we don't have a Newt Gunray figure. Like we haven't had one in any scale for what 20 years.
Oh, God,
because we didn't get one for Revenge of the Sith, did we? They did.
No, I'm thinking Saga Collection, but I could even be wrong there.
I'm pretty sure it was the cinema scene sets, the Geonosis War Rooms.
Yeah.
Because they did the Attack of the Clones one, didn't they? Because they slightly retooled the Phantom Menace figure and just like repainted him and gave him a new headdress. So
long overdue in any scale, then really.
Yeah, because we got Dolce Define in Vintage Collection about 12 years ago, but since then we haven't really had any Neimoidians in the line. So yeah, definitely need some more. Yeah, I'd buy it. Absolutely. I'd even make a case for a holographic Sidious as well.
Yeah.
Just to be, a holocom edition. To be devil's advocate. But
I'll put a cheeky little plug in for anybody that wants a holographic Sidious. Go to CD Prints on Etsy, buy one of the Land Speeder loot prints, and then just message him and ask him to print it in trans blue. Because it's fucking great, and it'll be better than Hasbro putting a blue dressing gown over a see-through figure. So
yeah, definitely. You've got one of those 3D printed ones, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, it's really good as well. I haven't put a light under it or anything, but I have got some little puck lights that are remote controlled. So
yeah, the sculpt on that.
The idea, the notion suddenly come to me.
Yeah, the sculpt looks really good on that as well. I think I remember seeing it on your Instagram feed. Like, I think that looks.
It's really good, man.
Yeah, even though it's just a static piece, that's how it should be done. That's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you want to play this, gents? Shall we go Phantom Menace picks first, and then Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith, or do you want to just plough through your trilogy picks in one go? What do you want to do? I'll let you have some input.
Let's
Go on, Jack.
Go on. Let's do it like one per guy, and then we'll go on to the next film.
Sound. I like that. Yeah, let's do that. We were talking about Kitster previously, and I said prime 2-pack candidate. I said it earlier as well. Smaller figures need to be in 2-packs, and this is another one. And I love that image that I picked as well. Jolly Lenny!
Oh, he's. Why haven't we had this yet? That's the real question. Why wasn't he packed in with Anakin? Because this is my pick, and
that guy behind him doesn't know either. Look.
Yeah. No, I not in the... And Warwick's just like, come on now, Hasbro, come on, speaking over. Yeah, it's just a weird one. Why we haven't had him yet, and it would have made complete sense for Phantom Menace anniversary last year for him to have come with Anakin. Even if it was just a static figure, I would have taken it, and it had like a stand that you just stick up his ass and. I would have been fine with that. As thrown in a slave owner or trader, a bit questionable, but it's Watto. We need him. We need him in our collections because he's just a funky little boy, little guy, little dude.
Do you not feel like it's another one of those though, where, like I said, because they've waited so long to do it, but now Black Series is at that point where they're churning out the best stuff they've ever done, that it's one of those where it's like, oh, well, actually, maybe it's a good thing that they've waited. Because if and when this guy gets made as well, the same as the Clone Pilot, like when this guy comes out, I mean, just speaking on behalf of that Sebulba figure that they've done, like I said, I'm more in the camp of smaller figures should come with either more accessories or be in 2-packs just to bulk up that value for money aspect. But at the same time, that Sebulba figure is so geniusly engineered and so well made that it kind of warrants it. I feel like Watto would be the exact same.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like you'd get articulation in the wings. Yeah. You'd get some really cool accessories with this one if you can get his little tin hat and his little like data pad and stuff like that. A few wrenches and tools from his workshop. Like I feel like there's so much.
Just packing a pit droid. Like there's so much. Like this is easy. This is easy for them to do.
Yeah.
Does need a flight stand though. If they bring this guy out, can't just have him standing on the shelf. None of that. He needs to be.
Needs to sculpt his ass.
Hovering.
You're drilling that point home a lot, Dan. I am. Are you all right?
Like that stand, it needs to, because that would
drilled up his ass.
That would just tickle me.
It's like when they when they did the live stream last week and they showed R2 with the jet thrusters and they brought him out on that little perspex stand.
That should have come with him, but
put that in.
Yeah.
At first I was like, hey, now hang about. Are they actually bringing this out? And then they showed the package shot, and I was like, fuckers. But it was like, just do like little things like that would just go such a long way.
I really hate the mentality of like certain Hasbro lines where they don't include flight stands with their figures, and the excuse seems to be, oh well, we sell a 3-pack of flight stands on Pulse. Now, I've heard good things about them. Practically. A flight stand for me should be as minimal as you could possibly make it without it breaking. You don't want to see some great big fucking metal grabbing scrap fucking grabber just in translucent plastic on your bloody shelf.
Yeah.
Just tiny little pole, nice and sturdy, straight up to his bumhole as per Dan's request, and then.
But for such a small figure, it's overkill. Because I've got Todo 360, and I've got him on a flight stand, and it's just overkill. He's like got this thing on his neck, like choking him. It's like you don't need that. He could have just come with a little thing that's stuck up his ass. I've behold it so I can fly it around in front of the camera like an idiot, like the probe droid. Probe droid's massive.
Speaking of things shoved up your ass.
Well, there we go.
The flight stand they need to use, that's a very good one, is what came with the droid with Darth Maul's speeder.
Yes. Yeah.
That was good.
Just a nice little translucent, right. Yeah, and they've done it before, and I mean, even like you said, I've heard good things about the Pulse stands. And there's some pretty good third-party ones out there that you can get as well that do the job. But it's like you said, they're just so they just take up so much space. And I've got Pre-Vizsla on a third party one, and you've got to dedicate so much space to one of to get a figure on a flight stand, because I know like practically it's difficult to do because you've got to have that stability in place. But like the base plates are so big and chunky as well, and they just take up so much room, and it's difficult to pose figures around them if you've got a compact space.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my best. Speaking of Donald Trump, I'm doing it already. Look, it's got to be a big base, the biggest base we've probably ever seen. And it's just like, just don't make them so egregious. There's no reason for it. I'm sure you could do it differently. I think probably one of the best examples I've seen, just going off on a complete tangent, is I think it's SH Figure Arts that actually put out their own stands, and they've done
the Tamashii stage.
Yeah, I'm wanting a few myself actually. That's just got the Star Wars logo on, and at least then it dials down how in your face they are. If you've got a black base with the Star Wars logo, and then just that, the translucent hook thing. Like, there's so many ways to do it, but this is definitely a figure. Going back to your pick, Dan, as we went on I didn't know that this was a display stand. Didn't know this was a display stand wish list.
God, I can't stand it.
Oh. But yeah, Watto, man, let's have it.
Yeah.
So what would your ideal scenario be for this one then, like in terms of like accessories and stuff?
I mean, accessory wise, yeah, you've got to have the stand. You've got to have the pit droid, obviously. I mean, if they were to do it as a 2-pack, a multi-figure pack, if they include another, pod racer, that would be pretty cool. One that we haven't had before.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I can. Gasigano.
I can't think of one that a lot of people really want to see.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one. Certainly one that we need.
Well, I was going to say we're 2 Phantom Menace picks down now, and I feel like we're going to lose a viewer.
Oh no.
Sorry, JPK. I don't like to disappoint, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
No, it's one that we need, absolutely. That's a good point, actually. Ultron, like, what needs is iconic Chance Cube with the blue and red set. Yeah, get them in there as well. Yeah, I think that's it. Chance Cubes, the data pad. I'm just thinking of the last 3 3/4 inch one we got, which was, because I think my main thing for this character is not so much accessories, but it's paint apps. Like, they've done such a good job with Sebulba in terms of getting that flesh tone nailed and all that sort of stuff. I feel like Watto, like, this is, I think, the Droid Factory Watto that came out in the Legacy Collection. And for my money, despite being how old is this one now? Like 13 years old? Maybe older? Yeah. No, probably a bit older, actually. Yeah, about 15 years. That, for my money, is one of the best painted action figures that Hasbro have ever put out, because there's so much definition. There's like so much, like, he's got this wash over him that really brings out all that detail in his skin. It's the same sculpt as the Phantom Menace version, but it's just so well done. And I just feel like, given what Hasbro are churning out in terms of quality with the Black Series now, and especially, like I said, with a smaller figure like Sebulba that's sort of like of this ilk, I feel like this is one that they'd really, really be able to do an amazing job with, just based on paint apps alone. So if if he was a little bit light on the accessories, I'd be absolutely fine with a decent paint job as well. So yeah, get him in the line, Hasbro. Pitch made. My pick is, again, it's one of those, like, it's criminal that this what's criminal about this one is that not only have we not had a Black Series figure of it yet, but we've not had a figure of this in 24 years. Given with the exception of the Retro Collection version. Now, this is hands down Queen Amidala's most iconic outfit. It's her most iconic look. Again, going back to what we've said about Hasbro churning out the best quality Black Series work that they have in ever. I think this one would be really, really, really good in Black Series 6-inch. I think you'd have limitations there in terms of the articulation if you did it in the way that I do it, which would be a malleable plastic overlay for the robe. Now, you'd have articulated arms underneath, but the robe itself would be like, you'd just have the sleeves there that would limit the articulation, and it wouldn't be ideal, but that's just how I feel it'd look the best, rather than having the sleeves with articulation points in them. Because for all intents and purposes, why do you need this figure to be articulated? Because she doesn't, other than sitting at a throne, which I guess you'd need lower body articulation to it, and potentially soft goods for that. But the chances of Hasbro putting this figure out with a throne are very slim. So I feel like you'd just do it that way. Do it as a plastic overlay over the figure. Yeah, limitation in articulation, but it also allows them then to reuse parts from previous figures without the issue of, in a similar sort of way to Sidious. I know he was soft goods, but the body underneath was Jedi Luke, and because you can't see it, there's no issues with the reuse. So I think this would be another one where you could just get away with a little bit more. You'd only really have to tool the robes and the head.
Yeah.
But it's just like I said, it's one of those figures where it's an iconic piece of the Phantom Menace, and to have her absent from any Phantom Menace display just doesn't feel right. But again, in terms of timing, like, get this one out and get it into the line, and it would now be the best version that it could possibly be. And you could flank it with battle droids. You could get a future release of, like Ultron says, a Palace Guard. It's just displayability for this one, I think, is the best thing about it. Like, it doesn't need to be an action figure.
No.
But just represented on the shelf needs to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah,
that's one for me.
I agree with this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No brainer.
Yeah, it was one of those where I was just thinking about, because I felt it, like, it's when we talked about on the last stream about the rumoured Padme figure for Revenge of the Sith, and we were like, well, which costume would they do? And it's like, she wears some pretty iconic stuff in episode 3, and equally iconic in Attack of the Clones. But I feel like there's no more iconic look than this one for Amidala, and you just don't see it brought to life enough in action figure form. Like I said, I think the last figure, bar the Retro Collection one, was 21 years ago as part of the Power of the Jedi line.
Yeah.
And that is mental to me. Absolutely mental. So I think it's long overdue, not just for a Black Series figure, but just an updated and new. I'd make a case and make a pitch that this one needs to be in the vintage collection as well, especially now that you've got that card back from the retro line. Like, tool the figure and get it out in the vintage collection as well, because I think people would go mental for it. At least I'd like to think so. So, yeah, iconic look, iconic character.
Yeah. Out of all the looks, this is the one, isn't it? I
mean,
she's had that many looks in episode 1 alone. This is the one I think everyone remembers the most. And the fact that we've not had it in so long. I was kind of expecting them to do it last year, but again, it's another one of those that they've kind of, sidetracked.
Just let slide away, haven't they? It's like, just get it done. Just get it done. I was going to say something else, and I've completely forgotten what it was. I was going to make another case. Oh, that was it. If there is this sort of thing about, well, it needs to be a little bit more action orientated, then maybe do the decoy of, I can never pronounce this, Sabe or Sabe. I never pronounce it correctly because I'm a gimp. But yeah, the Keira Knightley decoy, which is a somewhat similar look to this, but obviously with more of a battle ready attire, so you can pack in a little bit more articulation, a couple of blasters and stuff like that. So, there's a case there for, I'm pretty sure, like every single iteration of Amidala that there's ever been, because including as Dan, very strongly made a case for back in our rumors list. Like, needs to be there. But yeah, no, I really want to see it, and I think it's another one of those that I always talk about in my reviews, like shelf presence as well. Like, you've got vibrant gold on the headdress, you've got the red on the dress. It's just going to be like, and Hasbro are getting really good at doing those really ornate details. And I think, like I said, whether it's soft, and like I said, you could just go to town on it. Just make it as premium as you possibly could.
Yeah.
You did a fur collar for the armourer a while back. We've had, other different types of soft goods used to put figures together in the past. So even that trim around the collar, you could, really go to town and make that into a more sort of furry material. And just like I said, just premium the shit out of it. Like, if it means whacking the price up a little bit, then yeah. But there's just potential there, I think, to make what is essentially a quite a static looking figure really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it opens up the potential for more Naboo orientated characters. I mean, someone in the comments mentioned Captain Panaka, which I think
absolutely
should.
Yeah,
it's a figure that we do really need.
Yeah.
But it would be more justified if they packed it in as a 2-pack with this, potentially. I know I'm pushing. I think we're all pushing 2-packs quite a bit, but the past ones we've had have been so bloody good.
Yeah.
That it just makes sense.
Or like Ultron says, what about a 3-pack? An aching bones 3-pack. Anakin, Qui-Gon, and the old lady. Now, if you want to talk about glup shitters, I've completely forgotten about that.
Storm's coming up, Annie. Better get home quick.
Rick Ollie as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a plethora of characters from Phantom Menace that you can dive into. I love that. JPKC, he's no Ben Quadranero, so we've ruined him. He's off. Sorry, mate. Hasta la vista. Now, moving on throughout the prequels, we'll come back to your second pick, James, for Attack of the Clones. Before we do get to that, I've just got to point out Collector Curve's picks. Boss Nass and Captain Tarpals. Captain Tarpals, completely forgot about him. But Boss Nass, I very, very nearly picked Boss Nass over Amidala. So it was very, very close. I got as far as making the graphic for the deck. That's how close it came. I was like, Boss Nass in Black Series, but I was like, nah, yeah, it's... I had to go with, like I said, I'm trying to do it so that these are the figures that I want to see made, but which ones have a realistic chance of getting put out there. And I think James, you're gone. Sorry, Dan.
I was going to say, I think main characters should take a bit more of a precedence.
Absolutely, but you've got to throw the glup shitters in there as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think James, your first pick your pick for Attack of the Clones. I think it's got a very, very strong chance of getting made, and it's I'd really love to see this.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this, in the same way as Queen Amidala, is iconic in its own right for Attack of the Clones. Mm-hmm. It's a character that everybody remembers, despite having such a short amount of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, who doesn't love a bounty hunter, and who doesn't love an alien? And you've kind of got the best of both worlds with that, because of course she's a changeling. So I think it just fits the bill. I would even go so far as to say, I mean, again, I don't want to be giving Hasbro ideas. Once upon a time, this would be a standard figure. But if you wanted everything that this character possibly needed to use, then you could make it a deluxe, or maybe put it in a 2-pack. There have been, side note, there has been some lovely tasty leaks within the last 24 hours suggesting that a new Django could be on the way. So, this would go lovely with that. Needs that big long rifle, alternate head or face piece, however you want it. Well, probably a head, because I suppose it does sort of, there is a bit of mass shift in there.
Yeah.
And then the little jar with the worms in there. I'm sure they've got a proper name, but I'm afraid I don't know that. Sorry to annoy the internet trolls out there. little blaster, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I think interchangeable heads would definitely be the way to go with this one. I remember the Attack of the Clones figure that came out it was just a face that clipped over the front, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
That was good, and that was like quite innovative for the time. I had that figure when I was younger, and I remember it being like, that's pretty cool. But then the vintage collection one came around a few years later, and then that was an interchangeable head jobby, and it worked so much better. And I think, given the Black Series and how it is, but I think you could, like you say, you could do this really, really well with interchangeable heads. You have the scarf as well, be able to like
little
remove and
chopped hand as well for the bar scene. Lots of little bits.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, in terms of like how it'd be released, I think Collectico said it best. Sneak peek Attack of the Clones wave. This and the Phase 1 Clone Trooper would have been so good on that Power of the Jedi Attack of the Clones sneak peek card. That would have looked class. That would have looked so good. Or even on the Blue Saga card, I'd make a case for that one as well. They're both really, really strong candidates in terms of packaging, but no, I think as a figure, again, long overdue. Needs to happen especially if there's a new Django on the way. Dave says he heard that it was not Django but a new Axe Werves. So
no, it's Django's holsters that I've seen the leak for. So completely different to Axe Werves season 1 and 2, I'm afraid.
Okay. Well, on that note, I'm going to dive in and interrupt Dan's pick.
Go on.
Just because now you've said that, and I was completely blissfully unaware of those leaks, kind of spoiled my next pick. So my pitch for Attack of the Clones would in fact have been.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. Because I've got, like I said, I've picked my clone pilot as an honourable mention, but as you can see from the little image that I've put together here, I've got a stronger case to make for Django, and I'm thrilled with that news, James, that you've just thrown out there that we're obviously getting a new one. But this is how I would have done it, right? And I'm not saying like armor overlay and all that sort of stuff, because this is what you see on screen now. For those of you that may be unfamiliar, this is a 12-inch figure that was released back in sort of 2002, 2003, and all the armor is like it's all overlay pieces, even to the point of the gauntlets and stuff. So doing that in a 6-inch scale would obviously be a little bit trickier. But my pitch for Django is not just to update Django, because it's a figure that we've already had in the Black Series. So I did feel like maybe this was a wasted slot. But at the same time, that figure is so god-awfully bad.
Absolutely.
By modern standards, it was fine at the time. It had its issues, but it was fine at the time. By today's standards, it's not the best, right? And so we do need an updated one, and I'm thrilled that leaks appear to fly in that direction. But if I was going to do a brand new Django Fett figure, I would make a case, again, to play devil's advocate. I'd make the case for it being a deluxe. And what I mean by that is I would pack the living shit out of this with accessories. I would put in a removable helmet. I would put in the poncho. I would put in and the reason I'd do it removable helmet is because I'd want the little flight, the pilot gear, the headset as well.
Yeah, the comlink, yeah.
Get that in there. Both versions of his jetpack. I would do, if there's a way of doing it, it might be quite intricate to do, but I'm sure there's a way of putting the razors in there, the blades on his gauntlets. Have those
arms, basically, yeah.
Maybe interchangeable arms, or maybe just with a peg. There's got to be a way of doing it.
Yeah.
Get those in there. Blasters.
Hot Toys did just an interchangeable panel. It's attached to one of the raised panels, isn't it? So you could just take that off and put another one on.
Yeah, that would have been my train of thought. Would have been just something that slid out and slid back in. But yeah, like both versions of his jetpack, blasters and blast effects, flame effects for his jetpacks. Like, just really go to town on it and pack every accessory imaginable in with it. Do you know what I mean? Like Dave says in the comments, do it in a Marvel-esque sort of way where, you know, it's a maximum release and it's got all these different accessories in it. But like I said, look at this one. This is more of a box set sort of style. Do it in this, you know, pay homage to that. We're doing it with Revenge of the Sith. Pay homage to packaging of years gone by and stick it in a box like this with, like I said, the helmets and the poncho and the jetpacks and all that sort of stuff. I think, you know, again, going back to what we've said before, Hasbro are doing their best work with the Black Series. And I think however they opt to release Jango Fett again, as long as it's a completely updated sculpt, it's going to be fantastic. But I just want one that just comes with all this stuff, because I love picking up a figure that when you open it up, you've got all these different parts, and it's just like, you know, even the Black Series is geared more towards adult collectors. Doing figures like this where they come with all these additional accessories, it's like it feels like a toy again, and it's just fun.
Yeah,
and that's what I want from a figure like this. Like a figure like Jango Fett is meant to be fun. And going back to what we were saying about like nostalgia for the prequels and memories and all that sort of stuff, like some of the best figures from the prequels I think were put out were Jango Fett figures. Like you had the one with the removable head, you know, with the magnet, flamethrower effect. Get that in there as well. There were just so many, just so many fun and fantastic Jango Fett figures. Like just dialing on that again. Dave said it again. In terms of tons of accessories, the First Order Stormtrooper figure that came out years ago, I remember picking that one up purely because of the amount of accessories that it came with. Like, there's just an opportunity that it's going to hike the price up, but if it's the best possible version of this character, you only need to do it once, and then it's and you know, I'd pay £45 for it if it came with, you know, everything. I literally want it to come with everything. And like I said, there's a strong case there for Jango Fett being the one to have all these accessories, because he, you know, not many other characters use different jetpacks, wear a poncho, have the headgear for when he's in flight in the Slave One, and the helmet and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's just so much to pack in with it. And it'd just be a really, really fun piece to put together. I'd love to see it. I would absolutely love to see it.
I think the cool thing about him as well is if you did it like that, everyone's Jango Fett would almost be different on their designs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, that's what would make it so much interesting. Like, everyone has a personal attachment to a scene in Star Wars with certain characters. And just seeing, like, even fictional, like, from your head that you've pulled from your own head canon, how you display it would be so cool to see. I'm all over this. I
think for me, like, the way I'd get it displayed on my shelf would be, as long as there's a way to have it with the jetpack on at the same time as the poncho. So that is going to mean obviously putting a hole in the back of the poncho, which is fine. Because they did it in 30th anniversary, didn't they, with the poncho? And they tried something similar to this actually in 30th anniversary, because that one had the click-on armor and all that sort of stuff.
Did. Yeah.
I forgot he's got like a shirt underneath, doesn't he?
Yeah, you know what? Execution-wise, possibly not the best. It looked a little bit clunky, but it was still really, really good. And it was a nice, innovative concept. It was something different, and I think, like I said, there's a strong case to be made for doing it that way. But the way I'd display it on my shelf is poncho, Camino jetpack, helmet under the arm, flight headset on, blaster pistol in the other hand. Like,
maybe a couple of interchangeable hands. I think it's about time we got them in the Black Series. More so,
like a couple of fists, because for when he squares off with Obi-Wan. Yeah,
there's an iconic poster that comes to mind when I used to own the Hot Toys version of Django. I recreated it with that, and he's only holding one blaster, and then he's just sort of got a clenched fist behind him to the side. But it was they used that image of him in front of all the clone troopers. Like you'd have your bus stop posters, things like that, and I think that's just iconic enough that I'd want to recreate it. So
you'd need the closed fist as well if you put in the flamethrower effect, so that it could like point the arm and
you know,
throw all that in as well. yeah, just so much like there's just an opportunity there to just make this, like I said, not just a figure that's geared towards adult collectors, but just a really fucking fun toy.
Just
Like it'd just be so good.
the Dog's Bollocks Black Series, in a sense. Just
It would.
slap it all in.
It literally would be. It would be. I think there's an opportunity there for that to be the best Black Series figure that they've done.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit of a maybe that's a bold claim, but I think if you do it that way, like in my head, the way I'm picturing it, that's the best Black Series figure that's never been made. So
yeah,
that's my pitch.
You've already given me an idea for another figure that they could make in that concept, because we know they like the Fett family, but I'll save that for another stream.
No,
You're
go
right.
on. Yeah, I've just banged my leg.
Oh.
Oh, my foot. Should I say? No, I've just toe jabbed my Detol.
I thought if this was successful, let's say they did this, they could do a Boba Fett one, because they love Boba Fett and they love to deluxe him, but have it where it's his flight suit underneath, and then you get the sun-baked head and maybe like interchangeable arms, which have got like the rips on the, to show the version where the Jawas have pinched all the armor off him, but then when you put everything back together, you've got like a so you've got like a Return of the Jedi one. I guess you could do Empire Strikes Back as well and include all the prototype design pieces where he's got like that big prong springy thing on his gauntlet.
I think maybe
the J guys, but
what would be
it's very versatile.
What would be a good way of doing that one is, I think it'd be one of those figures where, like, from a practicality sense, it'd have to be sort of one or the other, just because I'm thinking of all the interchangeable parts. But I think what you've said about like it being post-Sarlacc Boba is a really good point, because like I think there's a way of doing that where you've got the flight suit underneath and you've got all the rips and the tears and you've got his sunburnt head and the removable helmet and all that sort of stuff, but do it in a way that's, think about Cobb Vanth, and even the recent Boba, where you've got the armor piece as a separate overlay, but make it so that it's easier to remove. Because I'm thinking back to a few YouTubers who shall remain nameless for the purposes of this stream, who decided to butcher certain figures in order to remove parts, which those figures would then later on end up getting released anyway. So you butchered a figure for no reason, but that's by the by. Just do it in a sense where that armor overlay is easier to remove. Yeah. And do it in a way that like the belt is easier to detach and all that sort of stuff. Because there's a way of doing it where they'll just slip off, and then you've got that jumpsuit on underneath. So like all you'd need to do in that sense then is just add the belt and the armor overlay, and then you've got two figures in one. But just do it so that you don't have to, use scissors or a knife to chop it off. Like, I'm thinking back to figures that had like little like not press studs, but like the pegs and the similar to how they do the holster straps. Where the holster strap just clips over and it plugs in. Just do it like that, and do it in a way where it's just easier to get off the figure, just to create two figures in one. Because I know that Hasbro probably see that as, well, if we do that, then you only need to buy one figure to get two versions, and that's going to make us less money. But at the same time, people are going to go out and buy two because they want to display it in both iterations. Do you know what I mean? So there's cases to be made for, if you're going to make a figure deluxe, like really make it deluxe. Do you know what I mean? Don't just pack in an extra blaster or a elongated box.
They'll say the fucking paint warrants it.
Yeah,
just really go to town. And if it means a price hike, then so be it. But like, if you're gonna do it where it's like the definitive version, I'm thinking to like some of the figures that Mattel put out for, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them, like the WWE Elite collection, where they come with interchangeable heads and arms and all that sort of stuff. So you can make all these like different. Just really go to fucking town on it and just like make it the best possible version that it could be. Because like we've just said, yeah, you'd only need to do it once and you'd probably never need to touch that character again. But think about how many you're going to sell because people want to display it in different ways on their shelf.
Yep.
You know? So I think there's a massive case to be made there for a super duper deluxe Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
and now you've really overshadowed my choice.
Set the bar.
You've really set the bar incredibly high.
I have. But I mean, well, take it away, Dan. Like this figure.
Take it away, Dan. Take it away. So, if Newt Gunray, if Newt Gunray is the Donald Trump, this is the Elon Musk.
Oh dear.
Because the Techno Union,
His hand's already raised, Luke.
he's getting ready to. Won't do it.
I just always feel like giving himself a little nipple tweak.
Yeah, he's just tuning his little radio.
Fucking hell. So that's the South Park episode of you guys seeing that one.
Oh. My Confederacy nipples are so hard. Fucking hell. If Dan's getting sound bit from fucking
somebody's got to put like a big blooper reel together of all the dumbest things we've ever fucking said on these things.
God.
Benny Hill theme in the background. And...
Rubbing the Mondays to pregnant Padme while tweaking Wat Tambo's nipples. That's the stream name. That is the stream name. There it is.
There we go.
It's finally come to us.
Well, I'm glad you're the host, because I wouldn't want to fucking say that every time.
I don't want to either, mate.
That's Wat Tambo for you. There we go.
Yeah.
That's certainly a thing.
I'd buy one.
I would.
It's a cool design.
That's the main thing with this guy. It's a cool design. I can't really think what accessories you would pack in with him. Really. Just maybe like the War Council room thing, like the little hologram, but that would be massive.
Yeah.
But
I think maybe like you could consolidate like some of the, because they use like they have the war room, don't they? And they've got all the holograms on the table and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe cheat a little bit and make this a double, like it serves a double, not make it a double pack. So we've I think we've killed that, or we've bashed that horse dead. But make it so that it's like multi-purpose and comes with an accessory that maybe a previous figure didn't. So I'm thinking with this one, even though it doesn't necessarily tie into this character, put in the little Death Star hologram that Dooku holds.
Yeah.
Throw that in there.
The
Wat Tambo doesn't use it, but at least it comes with this figure from a scene that makes sense to include it, and then stick it with Dooku. Or, as David says, stick with Flight. Go for that.
Oh dear.
You know how he walks in the Clone Wars? Just a side note, with Wat Tambo, he kind of like bobs up and down. Could there be a way that you don't give him legs and you put a play feature where you can just roll him and just half of his torso just bobs up and down? That looked really weird, I know, but I'd dig that. Put a little play feature like that in him.
You could almost include the Ark of the Covenant. If you know, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be funky.
Yeah.
Or some interchangeable hands so you can have him do weird little gestures and so you can do the nipple twist. So yeah.
Fucking hell. We're gonna have to start naming each of these streams in post, and like I'm just thinking back to some of the stuff that I used to talk about with Fly Guy on the Boring Conversation Anyway show, and we used to get into these like just throw all this innuendo out there, and then afterwards like that'd be the episode name. Like we're gonna have to
that'll get some clicks, won't it?
That's what I'm thinking. If this episode was named Tweaking Wat Tambo's Nipples, how many people would be tuning in? We'd have a damn sight more than 26 viewers right now. That's all I'm thinking. JPK might have stuck around earlier. Like, he might have thought, well, Ben Quadraneros isn't on the list. But we're getting into some nipple tweaking action, so I'm all in. Fucking hell. Well, sold, mate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Based on that. Nah, it's a cool alien. Cool draw. It ticks both boxes really. Alien slash, what's it called? It's alien slash droid because it's got that mechanical aspect as well. Yeah.
It's multifaceted as well, I would say, because even if you didn't have it on your prequel shelf, if you want to put it with the Bad Batch,
yeah,
you could have him with
Clone Wars.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, I know we've beaten the deluxe, 2-pack thing to death. Have Echo where he's kind of like wired up to the thing with all his wires.
Oh yeah,
maybe that would be quite cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Something.
One of them weird ass battle droids, the Techno Union battle droids that are like a fucking origami thing.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Raptor droids that are like.
Yeah, I like them.
They'd be cool.
Or throw it back to the Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, and either like really ambitious, but stick it in there with a Nelvarn warrior.
Oh yeah. Good.
Or easier option, it would just mean a cheeky retool, but put it in there with.
Yeah, that's it. I'll die on that hill waiting for that Black Series figure. Fucking hell.
That's a completely different pitch altogether, but it makes sense for the purpose of this one.
Yeah.
I'd make that case as well.
I'd dig that. There's a lot 100%. You could do with him.
Yeah. Absolutely. That brings us to... I've done mine, you've done yours. That brings us to Revenge of the Sith. So, James, I love this pick, James, because it's like... I love that you made it, because I was very close as well. And I know you said it's a cheat, but it's not. And I've got my reasons for picking it, and I'm sure you have as well, but it's a left field pick. But it's a really cool one, and I like it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Sindralic. I mean, nobody ever talks about this guy. And I mean, half of the population probably don't know who the fuck he is, but that is, and his name's Nick Gillard, the stunt coordinator for the prequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. What a legend. If you've ever sat through the special features on the prequel DVDs as a kid, then you should recognise that man's face. Stuck himself in the film, or a legend, in one of what was alleged to be one of the most gruesome lightsaber fight scenes we ever would have seen during Anakin's fall to the dark side. And so bad, apparently, that George had to, could only use it in that very small hologram scene where the majority of it was cropped out. Throat grabbing, human shields, the lot. Yeah. But we got this really cool looking Jedi. Mm-hmm. And as a result, Dave Filoni stuck him in season 6 of the Clone Wars somewhere. And
so you had an ulterior motive then, did you, James?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I know what you're going to say next, and Harry's beat you to it. But that was my reason for very nearly picking him, because it would have been
game, right?
Yeah, it would have made more sense for me as a gaming greats pick, but I'll allow it. But like Harry says, the fact that Revenge of the Sith video game made him a boss fight, and not only did he fight this guy in the game, but he's got an apprentice in the game as well, which is mad. And she's one of the coolest Jedi, like prequel Jedi character designs that's out there for me, Sarah Keeter, because she just screams like Knights of the Old Republic to me. Her gear's so elaborate and ornate. it's a tangent, but it's a
Right.
fucking cool character.
I mean, technically, in the Clone Wars, he did have those gauntlets, those clone armor gauntlets. But I wouldn't be too arsed. I just want to figure this guy. I wouldn't be mad if they reused an existing Jedi body for it.
Yeah.
Although, if we're getting a new Anakin and Obi-Wan, then there are going to be new ones available. So let's not reuse it for a current character. Let's reuse it for a new one.
You could very easily, and I'd settle for it. Repaint, like going back to what we were talking about at the start of the stream with the Revenge of the Sith figures that we got revealed the other day. Just repaint Kit Fisto and stick a new head on him.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be discrepancies and all that sort of stuff, but just for the purposes of getting him out there, and I mean, even like you could really like save the budget on this one by putting it out there and just throw it in with a 501st trooper or something. Do a little one of those Troopers of the Republic sets, and if they're intent on putting Jedi and clones together in 2-packs, we're beating this horse. Honestly, this 2-pack horse. But there's a case to be made for it. I think with certain characters, I think it's fine. You get away with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's a bit of an obscure one, and just wanted to choose something that's a little different. I don't. He's never had a figure, if I'm correct.
No,
in any scale. I mean, maybe there's some really obscure little fucking Hero Clips figure or fucking
I feel like he might
game
have had,
thing somewhere.
I feel like he might have had, or at least a figure similar to. Oh, do you know what I'm thinking? Do you remember those little?
Google it. Hold on.
Do you remember those little Unleashed figure sets?
That's what's in my head. Yeah.
Those little pre-posed figures that came in packs of like 3 or 4. It's obviously not a 3 3/4 inch figure, but that's I get a feeling that there was one of those. If it's not Sindralig, it's at least a Jedi that looks very, very similar to him. I'm sure of it. I should have got like some elevator music to put in.
There is. Fuck all. In fact, you search Star Wars Sindralig figure, and I'm
going to say West has just said that it looks like there's only customs out there of him.
Yeah, it's a very short list on Google of pictures. So.
Wow. Yeah, get him out there then.
There we go.
Case to be made. Yeah, no, I'd buy it. Yeah. Absolutely. Any excuse to get more obscure Jedi in the line. Definitely. This is one of those, though, where I think I would, and pin me to a cross, guys, but I'm going to say it, I would probably prefer this one in Vintage Collection before Black Series. Just because... I'm sorry. But I'm just thinking in terms of like what characters make up the Black Series 6-inch line from the prequels so far. This one's just going to feel a bit bloop. Like I want it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still in support. It's a yes from me. But
yeah,
it's just going to feel a bit like. Do you know what I mean? Like
I'll counteract your point, sir. If all the TVC people get a new figure of this in 3 3/4 inch, they'll start crying because none of the other Revenge of the Sith figures match the same quality as it.
No, but I'm thinking when you've got it in displays with like bloody hell, what we got, like Kit Fisto from the Vintage Collection. You've got Plo Koon.
I know what you're saying.
Like,
there's a lot of Order 66 stuff, isn't there? Where it'd feel more at home, yeah.
And there's a lot more random Jedi in the 3 3/4 inch line where this guy would sit in there and look more at home.
Yeah, that's it. You've got those. What came up in the Google search actually with the closest thing are those Geonosis Jedi packs from Toys R Us.
That's what I was thinking. To be fair, I thought that's where it was included.
It'd fit in with something like that, just being randos. So.
Absolutely. Love that as well. West has just picked up the figure of, and the fact they made that as well, mad. Zet Jacassa. That's a picture all on its own. That one. Can't believe I never thought of that. Bloody hell.
That's a good one.
That would have been a good one to stick in a 2-pack with a 501st.
I almost picked Bail Organa as well. But that's a different story because I'd have preferred a different Luke for that from that fucking going on a tangent. Never mind.
Yeah, Clone Wars.
No, not always Clone Wars, Mister.
Oh, I don't know. I just have to make these assumptions, don't I?
I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong in making that assumption. It's a very educated guess, but no, I would like a Kenobi or a Rogue One version of Bail Organa.
Yeah, I think Rogue
if we
One
were to ever get one.
I think for me, it'd either be Rogue One or Episode 3, but not the one that everybody probably thinks of first, because everybody probably jumps to that with the cape and, you know, the...
Yeah, he's almost got an adventurer look, similar to how they give Padme one when he goes to the temple. Like that body armor.
That's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's cool, that is, actually.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Really, really good. I was gonna say we're both like I was trying to pick like who was finishing on a stronger character for Revenge of the Sith out of me and you, Dan. But yours is we'll finish on yours, Dan, because yours I think is another one of those that falls into the category of that needs to be a figure. Mine is a glup shitter of like epic proportions, but oddly enough, it's a figure that we've already had, and I feel like we need to see it again, but upscaled. So my pitch. Like of all the characters to pick from episode 3, I go with this one. Jesus wept. It is the Neimoidian.
Yes.
God. And the reason that I've picked this one is because, like I said, it is already... What's weird about this one is that it isn't just one figure. This guy got 2 different versions in the 3 3/4 inch Revenge of the Sith line. It got the regular one that we see here, and it got a variant of from a different, like with a different rank. And it's just wild to me that they saw this figure and was like, "That's what the kids want," and that's what the kids want so much that we need to repaint it and re-release it. But I'm so glad that they did, because it's such a cool figure. I've got it kicking about. I can't reach it. I can reach it, but it's probably going to send everyone else toppling over. But they did this one that's in like sort of a green and brown get up, and then they repainted it and re-released a variant a little bit later on, which was more of the traditional Separatist colour scheme that was like silver and blue and had the little Separatist logo on its chest and all that sort of stuff. And for me, it's just another one of those. It's like your Wat Tambo pick. It's just it's another alien. That's the main case for picking this guy. It's technically an army builder and a trooper, but it's just a really cool and weird design. And like we were saying with Newt Gunray that you pitched from Phantom Menace, James, like we haven't had many Neimoidian figures over the years. And this feels to me like the perfect opportunity to kill 2 birds with one stone and to get not only a Neimoidian into the Black Series, but get an action-orientated figure of this species into the Black Series. Because, like I said, it's a trooper, and it's going to look... Imagine how class that's going to look on your shelf. Like, and painted up the right way and stuff. It's just cool, man. I like it. It's just really, really...
There's something very
I'd go one of them.
medieval looking about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an orc or a goblin.
Yeah. It's like completely different to anything else on your shelf.
Yeah. But it'd sit in there really nicely with a new Anakin, especially if the new Anakin comes with because I think that's the thing as well. Like if we're gonna get Anakin, we need the new Anakin to come with a soft goods robe so that you could, you know.
Oh yeah.
It needs to be dark side.
Especially with how good they've been doing the robes just lately.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be mint. And so just to, like, if you're one of those collectors that displays your figures on shelf in, like, scenes, like having Anakin cutting down a few of these guys, yeah. It comes with a really weird rifle as well. Like, the rifle design is really strange. The original Revenge of the Sith one that came with this giant, chunky fucking rocket firing thing that was like, it was like a fucking bazooka. It was so weird. But it's just one of those. It's just like weird design, cool colour scheme, like weird weapons, troop builder, alien. It just like it's one of those that just ticks all of my personal criteria boxes for the Black Series. So I really want to see it. I really, really want to see it. It's random as all, but
I dig it.
Yeah, it's there. Thanks for coming to my TED talk. So yeah, just any opportunity to get more aliens, really. Which brings us to Dan's final pick from Revenge of the Sith and the final pick of the prequel trilogy wish list. And like I said, one that falls into a category of this needs a figure, and I can't believe they've not done it yet.
It's Tarful.
It's Tarful.
It's Tarful.
Another one that's not had a figure in 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mad.
I mean, I was split between this and Tyon Meadon. I have a really weird thing for Tyon Meadon because I just remember seeing pictures of him thinking he's a crazy looking dude. But Tarful is a Wookiee, and I love my Wookiees. And like you said, it seems mental how we haven't had him yet. The thing I like about, you see Chewbacca and he doesn't really have any armor in the original trilogy. I love seeing that ornate sort of design on the shoulder pads with the Wookiees, and the weapons as well are like so rustic and steampunk looking almost, that I just think they translate so brilliantly on a Black Series shop. Maybe not even Tarful, but just getting a Wookiee warrior with those massive shields, or the weird staffs that they hold, and yeah, I mean, once you get this guy out, you could just literally, potentially, I know, a bit cheeky, repaint it, retool it, repurpose it, put it in a 2-pack. I'd lap it up. I would lap it up.
Do you know what? Cheeky cheat. Do you know what I'd do if you're gonna like? I mean, I imagine this one's probably going to be done in the same sort of vein as sort of like Chrysanthemum, in that you're going to get it in a bigger box. You're going to get it with a couple of weapons because he uses this and a variation of the bowcaster as well.
Yeah.
I'd expect this one if you're gonna 2-pack it, since that seems to be the running theme throughout this stream for some reason. We seem to be obsessed with 2-packs tonight. I think it's these guys. These set us off on a 2-pack wish list. If you're going to make the case for this guy in a 2-pack, stick him in there with a repack of Chewbacca. Yes, not necessarily going to be accurate to Revenge of the Sith, but I think the best way to do that is like stick him in there and include Chewie's alternate bowcaster, the gold one that he uses in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And have that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Like, it's just like.
This seems really easy to make as well because they've got so many with Chrysanthemum, and then we've got a new Chewbacca coming from what we've seen leaked. Yeah. We've also got Kalnaka. They've got just a plethora of new Wookiee parts that they could match together to get this guy, and then just put all your armor bits on it, and obviously a new head and that. And
yeah.
It's like they've already done the R&D. It's not very difficult to sculpt like a furry arm or a leg, is it?
Yeah.
Or even the armor. The armor would be pretty easy to do. It's not.
Yeah. If we can get a dumbass comic book Chrysanthemum, we can get one of these.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. That's what I mean. There's ways around it if you want to scrimp and save on the budget, but all new tooling. Brand new weapons, like, oh man! Like I said, the well of characters from Revenge of the Sith is so deep.
Yeah.
There's so many cases, and what's cool about these pictures as well is that it gets you thinking about the other characters. Because I think somebody's mentioned in the comments like an updated Gree would be nice, or a 41st Elite clone, like that Scout Trooper design with the camo.
Yes.
I went with the Nemoidian Warrior, but I came very, very close to either picking the 41st clones or an Airborne Trooper or a Galactic Marine. But I thought there's no point in pitching that because if we don't get those characters from Hasbro anytime soon, AliExpress is going to put them out anyway. So, do you know what I mean?
Like, little tidbit of information for you that I found out recently is the 41st Elite, like, wherever you want to call it, the Scout Trooper looking one. I think it's like the legs and the lower torso armor is almost the same as a Galactic Marine, just colored differently as as like a CG asset. So, fucking hell, good opportunity. Make one to get the other, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
just get some more Wookiees out there, man. I think that'd be cool.
Just
like so,
more Wookiees.
Somebody's mentioned in the comments, Black Series 3 3/4 inch did Miru Miru, if you remember that one, that ended up discounted in the Entertainer many moons ago. Like that'd be like the ones with the really like speaking about ornate armor,
helmet,
like the sneak preview Wookiee Warrior that they put out, like just like let's have an army of Black Series Wookiees.
I'd love that, because that's the one thing I remember from Revenge of the Sith is when they've got all the CGI'd same Wookiees, but you don't really notice it because
that's why I played it in the intro. I was like trying to source all like what's the most like what are the clips that tie into some of our choices, but then are also so iconic from those movies. And that's one of the things that I just think of is that like leaping over, and it's the battle that I with my action figures, because I was still playing with them when I was 14 years old because I had no friends, is the Battle of Kashyyyk. Because that scene with like the turbo, it's the first like I love Revenge of the Sith because it's just the first time you see the like Battle of Geonosis aside, it's the first time you see the Clone Wars without seeing the Clone Wars. And you just get all these different all these different snippets of all these different battles, and it was just it is the best.
It's just film. Cinema.
It's superb. It's superb. We could have done a Revenge of the Sith wish list as opposed to a prequel trilogy, but we'd have been here all fucking night. Like, love it, man.
There's, like you said, there's so many characters we could mention. I was even considering like George Lucas's cameo part.
Baron Papanoida.
Whab that on a Revenge of the Sith card, and I would have been in love. But it just shows how many characters you can do, even from the other prequels as well. The other prequel films, there's so many characters.
Yeah,
it's hard to narrow it down.
Absolutely, but I think it's better to do it, like I said, to be concise. Kit still was important. Right, Upper Ancestors was, very, very important to the line. But yeah, like I said, Galactic Marines, like there's just a wealth of figures that you could have picked from. But nah, good choices, guys. I like it. It's diverse, nice and diverse, which is what we like to see. That just about wraps it up for our prequel trilogy Black Series wish list. Whether you agreed with some of our choices or not, had a blast. It's been a pleasure as always to get together and do one of these. Like I said, I mean the comments are kicking off now with all these suggestions, and like I said, we could be here all night talking about them. But there's tons to go at, and every single one of you that's commented has made valid contributions to the chat. So I appreciate you all taking the time to tune in. James, Dan, I appreciate you guys taking the time to join me on one of these streams once again. As always, we will be getting together for another one sooner rather than later, because we don't usually tend to do it, but we've pre-planned. So we've got the next one already in the works, and it is, of course, as we make our way through the Skywalker Saga, it is our original trilogy wish list that is coming up next. That will be on, I think we agreed on March the 22nd, which is another Saturday. Yeah, I think it's pretty sure it's the 22nd. I mean, posts will go up on socials and stuff like that, confirming. But 22nd of March, probably the same time, 6 p.m. GMT. We'll be back with our original trilogy wish list, which I don't know about you guys. For me, it was the most fun one to put together.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really excited to share my picks from this one. Because again, well, like with any trilogy, really, there's a wealth of characters to dive into. So yeah, we'll be back with that one very, very soon. Like I said, there's the Power of the Force 2 live stream coming up as well. Obviously, the sequel trilogy will inevitably follow on from this as well. But we've also always got things in the pipeline. So there's always plenty to tune into. So that is going to be a wrap. Dan, have you got any content in the works? I know you've been putting out a few videos recently. Some nice, tasty reviews out there for the fine folks to tune into. But anything else? Anything else in the pipeline?
Nothing particularly at the minute, although I do have a few ideas floating around. But I have got a fair chunk of content on the tube at the minute. Shall I go check out those reviews? We've done all sorts. We've done Basil, we've done Verdestro, and we've done Dagangara, and IG11. I know IG12. Get the right one. So yeah, all the reviews are up. Go check them out. Much appreciate us. And I'll probably get some other videos up on something. Probably I'll get something done. I'll get some. Yeah, I'm a content machine, man. You know me.
Happy days, happy days. James, what about you, mate? I know you're a bit lighter on the video front, but any
any
cool
all at the minute.
Any cool snaps we can look forward to over on the gram?
If Instagram stops being an absolute bag of crap, then yeah. Man, talk about algorithms. Fucking hell. Like, I put a bit. It wasn't really much of a rant. It was just a little comment when I got that. What was it? It was Prince Shizor and the Commando Droid Black Series. I thought, oh, wicked! I'll get these posed up, get some pictures on. People can have a look. Fucking hell! Check my analytics. 50% less reach than any of my other posts on both of them.
Oh, mate, sorry.
Put those vintage collection figures up that I got, and the exact same thing happened. So clearly, I've pissed somebody off.
No.
Instagram HQ, but if a company wants to release a nice Star Wars figure for me to buy, because it's so fucking dry out there at the minute, then I'll put a picture up. Hot Toys, cough, cough. Get your fucking Ahsoka figures released. But that's a bit slow going at the minute, but I'll find something shove up there.
Yeah. Well, a flight stand maybe.
Oh dear.
Good stuff. I need to pull my finger out of my arse, funnily enough, and get some reviews done. But I have got some on the way. I did recently pick up Dagan Gera myself and Captain Brutus from Skeleton Crew. So I'm working on reviews of those two. I have got Shizor and Bakara pre-ordered with Star Action figures, and hopefully they should be coming in at some point over the next month. And I will be lightning fast in getting my Shizor review up because I cannot wait for that figure. Big Power of the Force 2 vibes from him. I'm also finally hoping to get my review done on the Last Command set, which I know is like really, really long overdue. It is something that I'm really excited to share, but it's just like, I don't know why, it's just taking me an age to get it out there. But the reason that I want to do it is to give a cheeky plug to the guys over at Star Action Figures, who you may or may not know have got a deal on at the minute. They've just managed to get their hands on some Last Command sets. They're not in stock yet, but will be very soon. And they're going for a stupidly cheap price. So once that review goes out, I'll be sure to share the links to that. So if you want to bargain, be sure to head over there. And yeah, then like I said, there's just like the Power of the Force 2 stuff to look forward to. I'm always sharing recent pickups and what have you on Instagram. So yeah, that's just about it. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all again on the next one. Like I said, March 22nd, 6 p.m. here on the channel, Original Trilogy Wishlist live stream, and we'll see you all then. Until next time, as always, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.